Oh, wow. Wow. There's just so much to get to, but my God, obviously a devastating night, guys. Absolutely devastating. There's just, it's painful. I mean, this will definitely rank up there for me, and I don't know how high on the list, but this certainly, I'm going to try to pay attention to Keefe a little bit. Pay attention to Keefe a little bit when he finally comes out. I appreciate everybody who came out here. I didn't want to keep you waiting anymore. It seems like it's going to be a while before he comes out, but my God, what a tragic loss. What a tragic way for your season to end. Wow. Oh, welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button. Smash the like. Share with a friend. Thank you very much. And yeah, guys, this one was gross. Talked about all series long how first goal is so important. Got to get the first one, especially on the road. Try to take their crowd out of it. Not only did the Devils get the first one, they also got the second one. And they also got the third one. Had a 3-0 lead after one. And, you know, there's so much to talk about with the refs and all the bullshit. But really, I mean, it's the pendulum started to swing with that trash call on glass at the end of the first. And I was like, you know, you're up 3-0, so you're not quite, I mean, I was still outraged, but you're not quite as outraged if it's a tie game or you're nursing a 1-goal lead. They have the 3-0 lead. They get the bullshit call, and you're like, all right, even if they score here, it's 3-1. But I was hoping there was only like, I think 20 seconds left in the period, or maybe even 19 seconds. And there was, you know, a minute 41 or whatever it was of carryover power play time. And so you're like, all right, this is a big kill. I obviously hate, you know, taking penalties that late in a period because, as you know, the opposing team will have the bulk of their power play on the clean sheet of ice, meaning it was just Zamboni'd over. The ice isn't chewed up. It's nice and slick. That puck will be moving around nice. And sure enough, that's, you know, that was the first thing that kind of bit them. The Canes come out. They get that goal early on the power play in the second period. It was later credited to Taylor Hall, of all people, which makes it even more gross just because of our history with Taylor Hall. And the fact that he was a player I had wanted the team to look at during the season. But that goal gets credited to Taylor Hall. You're like, okay, it's 3-1. And then like 2.5 minutes later, Jackson Blake gets one, and now it's 3-2. And now you're like, holy, here it is. The wheels are falling off this thing, right? It's 3-2. Keefe calls a timeout, and you already feel it. Now the building is just rocking. You're like, oh, this is the worst possible scenario. A 3-0 lead cut to 3-2 in a matter of, you know, the first 4 minutes of the second period. And then not even 2 minutes later, Svechnikov, Mr. Hat Trick from game 4, gets his 5th of the series. And now it's all tied up. And you're like, you got to be kidding me. A 3-0 lead completely dissipated. Just like that in the second period. And then the captain, Nico, strikes less than 2 minutes after that to get the Devils ready. They answer quick. You're like, oh, my God, what a seesaw. We were up 3-0, then 3-1, 3-2, tied at 3. Then Nico answers back to give the Devils the 4-3 lead. And then 4 minutes later, Canes on the power play. Aho ties it at 4. That's how the second period would end. We're tied up at 4. We go through a third period. A third period where how many shots did we get in the third? Yeah. 8 shots in the third period to Carolina's 15. We survived that. It's still 4-4. Markey making huge saves in the third period. We get to overtime. And the overtime was quite frankly one of the most tragic things It has to be one of the. I tweeted something about it was like one of the biggest onslaughts in NHL playoff history. The shots were 14-3, and the puck was literally in our D zone the entire period. We looked absolutely dead. Nobody had gas, and we just somehow survived. I mean, shout out to Markey in the overtime. Markey had like 5 highlight reel saves in the overtime alone. To get it to the second overtime. And then obviously, a careless play by Mercer. I understand he was following through, but you have to be situationally aware, especially knowing how bad the refs were, right? I'm not going to sit here and keep complaining about the refs, but the refs were absolute dog shit. Absolute dog shit, looking to get the Canes back in the game after we had the 3-0 lead. And I even said that. When we had the 3-0 lead, I literally put, for those that were in the chat during the game, I was like, and now the refs are going against us for the rest of the game, which they did. You knew it was coming, and you'd still think, a 3-goal lead would be enough to kind of hold you over, but it wasn't. The Canes are a good team. They're very good at home, and the refs really screwed us. And the 5-on-3 was egregious as well. I mean, sometimes you got to just put the whistle away in the playoffs, especially when a team's already shorthanded. And the 5-on-3 alone, you could say, if it wasn't for that, we would have won in regulation. But we just couldn't survive the onslaught. And then eventually in double overtime again on that Mercer double minor, they score on the power play again, and the season's over. The season's over in true Markey fashion. He completely eviscerates his stick, just multiple pieces, throwing it. And it's garbage. Let me see if someone's talking right now. Give me a sec. Pesci.
It sucks, no way around it. Losing isn't fun, but I am super proud of the way everyone fought. We faced a ton of adversity, and guys dug in, man. I mean, that's a good hockey team. I've been on the other side. They're a legit team, and we never went away. So I'm super proud of them. Unbelievable. I mean, I can't say enough about that guy. He's just such a competitor. A warrior out there, and we're lucky to
Presify. Thanks for the super. Fitz needs to rehold the entire bottom 6. Absolutely unacceptable. Need guys who want to win on this team. Mercer, Hall, Dowling, Bastian, Lazar gone. I think a lot of them will be, but I mean, it's just disgusting. I just feel disgusted in an elimination game to blow a 3-0 lead. Like, I don't care what. Despite the refs and everything, and yeah, Markey did not have a good game until the third period. It is what it is. I mean, wow. We had we survived in overtime. We did nothing. It was like, yeah, oh, man. The interviews are painful to watch too, and I hate to say, watching Salvador on MSG after the game, with his usual spin campaigns, I wanted to smash my television. I'm like, Sal, we just got eliminated from the playoffs. This guy's out here talking sunshine and rainbows. Like, no, dude. Yeah. Unicorns and fairies. There's always a spin. Oh, yeah, this, that. Like, dude, we just got eliminated. And in a game where the trash offense finally scored 4 goals. There's a lot of people in the chat right now. I'm going to get to the chat soon. I'm just trying to keep a half an ear to see what these losers are saying. Man, it's just crazy. 3-0. I mean, I wasn't celebrating that we won the game, but at 3-0, I'd imagine we have to be like, I don't know, 95% to win the game. 3-0 after 1.
It really helps guys, no matter the age, and helps your team mold, and you kind of find out what it takes to win, and you feed off these heartbreaks that you're feeling right now.
Well, really cool to hear from Pesci and him saying that he's already looking forward to next season because how much growth this team is going to get from experiencing this round of the playoffs, or a lot of those younger guys getting that experience, something Bill and Dano talked about up in the booth just a little bit ago.
What a way for your season to end. I would have rather got you just stomped out. That would have been more acceptable to me. That would have sucked too. But to blow a 3-0 lead and then blow a 4-3 lead, it's not even like we blew one lead. We blew a 3-0 lead. Let me hear Keith. Then we go up 4-3 and blow that lead. Like, what? Let's see, Keith. I hope he rips the refs and takes the fine. I would talk so much shit on the officiating and just take the fine because it was garbage. Complete garbage.
I mean, I think the 3 goals you give up at the start of the second, it's not unlike the 3 that we scored at the start of the first. You know, it's a couple pucks, we get a couple chances, we put some pucks in the net, we go in, we get a power play goal. You know, they get a power play goal, we put a couple at the net and go in. So, and then I've already watched it back. I didn't mind our start to the second period. Like, we played pretty good. You know, I mean, at the point in time when we gave up 3 goals, we were out shooting them in the period at that point in time. The first TV timeout came about 7.5 minutes into the period. We were out shooting.
Just bear with me. I'm listening to Keith. He's on stage right now.
So you know, it's just, I guess it's just hockey is what I'd say. Is what kind of got away on us there. You know,
Worst way to lose it, to lose a playoff series.
But love the fight in our team. I thought we competed hard. We come right back and get the 4th goal. You know, they get a 5-on-3 goal. The first 5-on-3 in the series. That's one. That's you know, that it is a game for them. But like a lot of our game here tonight.
How proud are you going to be tonight?
Real proud. I mean, to come out the way that we did, come out fighting. You know, came out swinging. You know, we were here just to go away quietly. This is a tough building to play against. And a very hard team to play against. A very good team.
We're a good team, Kiefer.
Yeah, our team fought, man. Like, it's, you know, we came out of game 1. You know, the game 1 didn't go well. That was our worst game of the series. And we lost Luke and Billy in game 1. We knew at that time they weren't going to be back in the series. But our team fought.
Comments are flying. I'll be in the comments. I'm probably going to be here late night, guys. Buckle in if you're a sick person like me. I'll be here probably super late tonight, just because there's so much to complain about, so many grievances to air. Blowing a 3-0 lead is unforgivable. Unforgivable. That's got to be lights out, game over. 3-0 lead. I'm sorry. There's just no way you could blow that. I mean, for the record, before I even get to the chats and everything, this for me is a complete failure of a season. For those of you that are like, oh, we made the playoffs and all that, nah, bro. This is a failure of a season on so many levels. So many levels, this is a failure of a season.
Scored a power play goal tonight. This is what you want, right? You can only control today's game. Got a huge power play goal in the first period. It's a big moment for us, you know, for the power play to come through. It's huge. Third period to get a power play. If you could tell me if there's one thing you want to draw up, what would be your ideal scoring chance? I would want it to be Dougie Hamilton one time down the slot. We got that in the third period. Didn't go in. So power plays, you're not going to get a lot of looks or a lot of shots or attempts, but you can get one really good scoring opportunity per power play against someone you've done well. And I thought we did that. We scored one in the first period. You know, Dougie gets set up just a little bit more over the pad. You know, it's a huge goal huge moment. But the overall series lack of success in the power play is it's heightened because of the penalty kill. You know,
Let the Canes fans stay. I mean, who cares?
you know, tonight.
This is just
We're doing a pretty good job of the kill. We take one, we're down 5-on-3. But we're doing a pretty good job of killing that. And we get late 4 minutes in overtime.
watching these press conferences somewhat painful as well.
3+ minutes.
It's just bad. I just
You know, it's disappointing. It's a little bit frustrating.
disappointing.
Yeah, we knew the power play was going to have trouble in this series, but penalty kill has to do a better job. Power play, penalty kill, we were the #1 team in the NHL and the regular season when you combine the two special teams. So to have that make a difference ultimately in the series is disappointing.
Yeah, the press conference is firing me up a little bit too.
Do a better job there.
Like,
You spoke to it a little bit. Can you just speak to the role Markstrom down there for that second period?
Yeah, he battled. I mean, that was tough. It's a tough stretch. I mean, the first 3 shots in the first second period go in the net. You know, and he battled. He gave up some looks after that overtime, the first overtime. And we were under siege. He was outstanding. He gave us a chance to keep fighting. And I thought chance to regroup. First at the TV timeout of overtime, I thought we regrouped and we didn't give up like the last 9 minutes of the first overtime. We gave up 2 or 3 shots. But that first half, and we were really needed that break badly. He got us to there. And I thought, the chance to go in and regroup for the second overtime, that we would be okay. She really liked that start.
3-0 lead. Squandered on the road in an elimination game. Man, I just
Sheldon, did you have any issue at all with that call? Did you feel like it was a follow through?
I thought it was a follow through, but it's because I don't want to. So I don't think the rules. I don't know exactly how they interpret those. To me, he's in the act of moving the puck. They felt differently about it. But it's very close, unfortunately.
That's okay. How beneficial is this?
last one for Kiefer.
The first year guys, including yourself, going through this playoff experience together, moving forward, and building a team.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, I think, as we get time for this to, this loss to tonight's loss to dissipate and then reflecting the whole season and the playoff. I think I'll come away feeling positively about some of the steps we've taken. And, we'll get back to Jersey. We'll talk more about it, but I do think we improved and found out lots about some of our people in this series and these circumstances.
I mean, respectfully, I think, if the Canes fans were respectable, they'd let us have our moment now. And now that the game's over, they should, in my opinion, see themselves out. But,
Playoff experience. Look at the huge moment of Simon Nemec in game 3.
I was talking about Nemo.
The overtime goal, but to me, it's more than that. Just his play. We have no chance in this series.
Yeah, Nemo really grew up this series, huh? What a story for Nemo.
Step up the way that he did. So to me, he was a real bright spot coming out of this whole experience. There's others,
How is there not one place for Canes fans to go? It's kind of wild.
Some really good things. I thought a lot of our top guys did a nice job through the series. We got some others that I think will reflect and look a lot and learn a lot about what this time of year is about and how hard it is. But we got time to digest that.
We got time to digest that. I mean, Keith, we just got ousted.
I mean, I hate losing, but I really hate losing. And
He really hates losing, he said. I just hate it.
This sucks and it's disappointing, but I'm proud of our group and how they fought. Because when you're behind the bench, especially in these games, in these moments, like you're there, you see it, you feel it. The guys are giving everything. They are exhausted, and it's very, very hard hockey to play. You're down next level with the players on the bench, the crowd noise, all these
I
things.
can't believe our season's over, guys.
Players in your team.
It's a tough one.
Clearly, we have to continue to improve. But I believe we took small steps through this, and we're going to have to make more.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Thank you.
And Kiefer's done. I mean, wow. I'm trying to collect my thoughts here. I'm going to dive into the chat in a minute. I just have some notes. This one just 3-0. I mean, God, it's just unacceptable. It's not like we were up 1-0 and it's like, all right, the game got away from us. 3-0 and lose, and then you get it back and have a 4-3 lead and blow that too. Dire Straits, we need a top. Thank you for the super. We need a top 6 forward as well. The Hughes family, namely Jack, is completely unreliable at this point. We were down so bad in the series before it started. They do need a top 6 forward, but my expectations for off-season acquisitions are pretty low just because of the cap situation. As we all know, there's not going to be a lot of money to spend, and so realistically, I think our best chance of getting a top 6, honestly, is, and I hate to say this because I'm not one of these people that just assumes this, but our best chance really is if Gritsuk could fill that role. Now, I'm not saying he definitely can or he definitely can't. I think at worst case, he's definitely a bottom 6 guy. If he could be a top 6 guy, that would be phenomenal. That will, that remains to be seen. We're not going to know till he's here. But in terms of like a bona fide known commodity top 6, there's no money for it. And so it will probably remain another hole, unfortunately, heading into next season. And I think the offseason is going to be mainly made up of, revamping that bottom 6. But obviously, Jack and Luke were missed in the series. Playing with a record 5 different groups of D in 5 games. I mean, it's just the injuries is crazy. And yeah, Jack, our most potent offensive player not playing in the series. And so it all culminates together for an uphill battle. But the reality is this team was in every game except for game 1. They didn't seize game 2. And ended up coming back to New Jersey down 2-0. I mean, they win that game too. Everything's different. They couldn't seize that game. Obviously, win the beautiful game 3 in double OT with Nemo. And then got down early in game 4 at the Rock and were able to claw back to a 3-2. And then with Kochetkov in net cold, they couldn't test them, and they leave with the split. That's all they were really looking for. They leave with the split, go back to Raleigh 3-1, and this literally followed the exact format of when we played them in the second round in 2023. They had home ice, obviously. We go to Carolina, they win both. You got to get the split, and this is why getting the split in the first 2 is huge. If you go down 0-2, you're basically cooked. I mean, yes, teams have overcame it, but you go down 0-2 to a team like this, you're cooked. And this is literally the same exact pattern game for game as 2023. Go to Raleigh, lose both, down 0-2. Come home, show some heart, win game 3 at the Rock. Now the series is 2-1, looking to tie it up in game 4 at the Rock, lose. Lose game 4, down 3-1 in the series. Go to Raleigh for game 5, elimination. And the last one was in overtime, I believe. Tonight was in double overtime. So, failing to get the split in the first 2 is where, the series could be lost pretty early on. But it's frustrating because that game 2 was there for the taking for this team. And so was the game 4. Even if you get one of those, then we're still alive, now coming to the Rock for game 6 down 3-2. But that's hell of a lot better than golf. Dano calling for a top 6 scoring winger right now. Tell him, Dano. There's no money, though. Will, thank you for the super. Keep your head up, Ace. Not here to bash you guys. Yeah, I haven't been able to read a lot of the chats. People complain about other fans, but, I'm fine with it as long as you're not, trolling and being a scum. I appreciate the super, Will, and I'm super jealous. You will have another round of playoff hockey to watch.
You don't want to wait too long. You get that hunger a little bit more and that taste and go, all right, we know what it takes. Management and ownership add what we need, and then the core, they bring them into the core group. The core group goes, okay, let's go, boys, let's go. Yeah. And that's kind of what you're looking forward to going into next year.
How many does?
Yeah,
we expected a game 6, Dano, but we blew a 3-0 lead and then blew a 4-3 lead. So the boys giving the little season-ending sign-offs here. What a night, guys. I forgot, obviously. I'm just disgusted. How could I forget? We got eliminated. Win or lose, we booze. And wow, this is our last win or lose, we booze for the season. Cheers to all of you. I'm going with Marty's Dirty Devil Vodka. I'm going to do a couple of bottle shots. But win or lose, we booze. This is obviously the most painful loss in years. Cheers to all of you. I appreciate you guys that have been rocking with me all season. I appreciate the new viewers. If you've been here for a while, if you've been here from the beginning, there is no channel without you guys watching and participating in the lives. So I super appreciate it. It's for the most part, a pretty fun little community we've built here. And hopefully this is just the beginning, for the channel, but I appreciate all of it. I've enjoyed meeting a lot of you IRL, as the kids say, in real life. And I really appreciate it. It's been a fun year. It's been a painful year. And there's so much to get to here. So let me just, the supers are bombing in. I appreciate all of you. Let me go through those real quick. And then I have a bunch of diatribes kind of to talk about on the season, but man, I'm just heartbroken, guys. Like, I'm not going to lie. You guys know this is what I do. I live and breathe New Jersey Devils hockey, and losing, getting eliminated in any year obviously sucks, but to lose in this fashion, up 3-0, is really, I'm going to be kind of messed up probably for the rest of the week. I'm going to need some personal time. I think my family will probably know, like, I'm just going to be a little moody, irritable, and probably don't mess with me too much. But all right, let me Teddy, thank you for the super, Teddy. You probably hate hearing it from a Canes fan, but I really enjoyed your breakdowns and game vlogs throughout the series. You guys fought hard, subbed. I really appreciate that, Teddy. As I've said a lot of times before, obviously anytime anyone says something nice, it's obviously much appreciated. But it does mean even more to me coming from opposing teams fans, just because I'm not covering your team. And so for another team's fans to, say nice things, I really do appreciate it. So thank you very much, Teddy. I certainly despise your team with a passion and hate the Canes, and certainly hope you get swept in the next round. But I appreciate you watching, constructively participating, and the kind words. It really does mean a lot. So thank you very much, Teddy. Riot and respect. Well, thank you for the super. This game pretty much summed up what the team was post-Christmas. I admire getting to 2 double overtimes, but blowing a 3-0 lead in an elimination game is indeed unforgivable. No doubt they fare better in this series, healthier, but it's brutal. It 3-0, man. But yeah, it is. You're correct, Riot and respect. This is just a summary of it's just the highest of highs, the lowest of lows. I was on a euphoric high. When we were up 3-0, I was hallucinating. I've never taken hallucinogenic drugs, but I imagine that's how it feels for these people that take, ayahuasca and LSD and all these other psychedelics. I like I said, I have no firsthand experience, but I imagine the way I felt when we were up 3-0. I was seeing shit. It was an out-of-body experience earlier on in this first period of this game. And I imagine that's how those substances make you feel. That's how the 3-0 lead made me feel. And it all just went by whoop, whoop, whoop in that disgusting second period. One of the worst periods in Devils hockey in recent memories, given the stakes and everything. Absolutely disgusting. But yeah, it is pretty much kind of in a nutshell what this team was, the tale of two teams. And we saw it kind of all play out before our eyes within the context of one game, right? We got the A+ Devils the first period. We had the 3-0 lead. Second period, we got absolutely smacked. That was the bad Devils. And then we just saw a little, mostly the bad Devils for the rest of the game. But in the end, absolutely disgusting, and 3-0 lead in an elimination game is unforgivable. And this one should haunt the team. It'll probably haunt a lot of us more so than the team, which is a little troubling in my opinion. A lot of us probably care more than the team does. But, it is what it is. But thank you very much, Ryan, and respect, and much appreciated for the support and the supers throughout the year. You're the man. But wow. Another super. Thank you again. The injuries also put some of the other issues under a magnifying glass. For sure. Every team has issues, but when you are so decimated with injuries, like you said, the shortcomings and kind of holes in your roster will be intensified and magnified, and that is what happened. What started off as great defensive depth earlier in the year, I mean, the injuries to the defense alone was insane. In conjunction with the bottom six that just disappeared pretty much for the whole year, it was a lot to overcome, and they battled, and realistically, we got into the playoffs because of our hot start, combined with the Metro Division absolutely sucking. And a lot of the games, we won were because of tight defense and Markey, and I do give Keefe credit for his system and keeping us in some of those games, but I mean, wow. What a warrior Nico is, man. For all the people that talk shit about Nicohischier, shame on you. That is a captain. He might be the only guy that I believe gives a shit. He might cry on camera right now. Let me just, And Steve the Maniac pointed something out in a text. Shout out to Steve the Maniac. We've been texting all game, but I had the same thoughts. In the handshake line, all the former Canes were playing grab ass and patty cake with their former teammates. Like, I want to see guys seething and foaming at the mouth. Like, I don't want to see any pleasantries. No, I don't want to see any pleasantries in a handshake line after you get eliminated. It's just a further insult. But thanks again, Ryan, and respect. Pato Tortuga, thanks for a great season, Ace. Cheers. Cheers to you. Appreciate the super. Thank you very much. I'm knocking stuff off the desk here. Very much appreciated. Ryan, and respect. And thanks for the lives all season, man. Been good to look forward to, win or lose. Win or lose, we booze. I'm going to do another one. I might, for the last game of the year, I'm starting to get red from the liquor, too. I start getting blotchy. It looks like it's happening. I might drink till I faint on this one tonight, guys. This is just painful. This is the end. This is the end for us. I mean, not for us, in totality, but for the season. This is the last post-game live. The season went by so quick. These reporters ask the dumbest questions. Some of the players should just be like, find me. I'm not doing media. Painful. But, your boy Ace can't get in there. Maybe one day I'll get some respect, but not anytime soon. Nico looks like he wants to choke one of these reporters, and I don't blame him. Like, how does it feel to have your heart ripped out of your chest? How does it feel to have your heart ripped out of your chest in this fashion? RJ, thank you for the super. Ace, thank you. Not the season we wanted, but was able to get some enjoyment from the post games and recaps. Hope next year we could see some consistency. I don't know what GGS is. But thank you very much, RJ. Appreciate it. It definitely was not the season we wanted. Yeah, now they're showing Pesci like making out with Martinuk in the line. Like, I don't want to see this shit, man. Oh, I don't. It disgusts me. Yeah, there he is with Svechnikov, grab his ass. I mean, God, it is gross. Like, I get that you played with them, but like, come on, man. We're about to jump out the window over here, and you're sitting there, Oh, it's just terrible. But this is pro sports nowadays, guys. This is what it is. But thank you very much, RJ. Obviously, hopefully next year we see a much better team with a much better result. Van Walen, thanks to the super, fire Keefe. He's the reason the Devils lost when up 3-0. Van Walen, I have to wholeheartedly disagree. The reason we lost when we were up 3-0 is because multiple things. One, the Canes are a very good team, especially at home. Two, the refs absolutely screwed us. And three, Markey just fell apart in that period. So when you kind of combine all of those things, it was a recipe for disaster, and we got lit up. But I'm curious as to why you're putting the blame on Keefe. What should he have done differently that would have avoided that? I don't even know. David, thank you for the super. David, Dougie smiling too much after we were eliminated. That goes for all of them. Even Halla. I think Halla, Nason, Pesci. Am I forgetting anyone? They were all like making out with their former teammates in the handshake line. Like, no one wants to see that. Have some situational awareness, but they don't care. I mean, listen, I have no problem with the winning team doing that, right? Had the Devils beat the Canes and those guys were being friendly with their former teammates, cool. I still don't love it, but if you're on the winning side of the handshake line, by all means, grab his ass, tickle, whatever, massage him, hugs, whatever you want to do. Don't do that when you're the loser. It sucks. It sucks. They were all doing it, David. It is infuriating. Viper, thank you for the super. How much longer do we have to deal with Fitz and his refusal to build out our bottom six? Well, I mean, I don't think it's a refusal. He tried. He just came in second. Too soon. The body of the 24-25 New Jersey Devils is still warm. We've just been murdered. The body is still warm. He's going to go out there and do some sort of rebuild of the bottom six this offseason. Now, to what extent, and is it going to be an effective rebuild? We're not going to know till sometime in October, but there will be some changes in the bottom six, obviously, hopefully a lot of changes. And we're going to see what happens. I mean, I'm hoping for the best, but we are going to see a lot of new faces on this roster next year, and hopefully a bottom six that can, contribute some goals here and there when you need them. Obviously, when you look back at this series, I'm going to say, if I had to put the blame on one thing more so than anything, I don't even think I would put the injuries at number one. I think I'd put the injuries at number two. I have to put special teams at number one. Special teams were fucking awful. Awful. The penalty kill was shit. The power play was shit. And it's funny how Keefe was talking about in the postgame a power play goal. And it technically, I'll say that it was a power play goal for all intents and purposes because it came as a penalty was expiring. And so you did get the goal as a result of the extra man, but it wasn't recorded as a power play goal. And so, yeah, so what's the total? The total power play number would be what is that 15, I guess? So I guess in the end, this might be an NHL record too. We go 0 for 15 on the power play in the series, and we surrender a shorthanded goal. So the power play was actually -1 goal. I don't know that that's ever happened before either. I think we set a lot of records. Yeah. 5 games with a different defensive core in each and every game. Not one set of 6 guys was the same in any 2 games. 0 in 15 on a power play and giving up a shorty. -1 on 15 power plays. I mean, this is just psycho stuff. Completely psycho stuff. And it's gross. I'm going to say special teams is the main reason we lost the series. I got to get special teams is just, you can't be that bad. And it's even crazier because they were both so good, top 3 in the league all year. And then to come out in the playoffs and just suck, to just completely suck. But we're going to see. I hope we get some quality guys in the bottom 6. Gritsuk will certainly start off there, I believe. Gritsuk, you could pretty much pencil in from one of those spots. And then, there's a lot of question marks. Which guys from this team are brought back? Do they sign Cody Glass? I think he might be expensive for, can you find a similar type player for less than the probably, I think he made like 2.5 this year, 2.5. So he's probably gonna be like a $2.83 million guy. Like, I don't know that we can even afford to bring Glass back. At $3 million, I'll pass. $3 million, I'm not interested. I mean, he was fine, but did he move the needle? No, he absolutely did not. But thank you very much, Viper. Appreciate it. Jeter Toker, thank you for the super. Shout out to Nico and Dumo. Apologies to Nemo. Thanks for the coverage all year, Ace. Yeah, appreciate that, Jeter Toker. One of my notes, I guess I'll just talk about it now. Both of them, again, monster games. Dumoulin ended up being Fitz's best acquisition at the deadline and really showed his worth with all the injuries, playing monster minutes again tonight. Lots of big plays throughout the series, winning battles, tying guys up. He made a great play in overtime, in the first overtime. Look at this game's missed due to injury. I'm skipping all over the place. Regular season, Siegs misses 27, Lazar 25, Jack Hughes 19, Dougie Hamilton 17, Bastion 16, Eric Hall at 12, Markey 11, Luke Hughes and Pesci 9 each. 162. Let me just get a picture of this. 162. I missed it. It's gone. 162 man games. I mean, wow. Again, hate to keep using the injury excuse, but it's reality. And it sucks. It sucks, but yeah, Dumoulin, huge series, ended up being a valuable acquisition. A lot of people are talking about how do we not bring Dumoulin back? I just can't see how we would. With our top 6 defensemen when healthy, we have six guys locked in, and that's not accounting for Seamus, Casey, or Nemitz. So we do have an overabundance of defense. Good problem to have, but it's also problematic. How do you navigate these waters? Obviously, Nemitz and Casey both want to be in the NHL, and there's no spot for them as of right now without trading one of the veterans. And so that's going to be a whole nother interesting situation for Fitz to navigate in the offseason, in addition to figuring out the gut renovation, or at least what should be a gut renovation of the bottom 6. And, Nico, the captain, again, for people talking smack on Nico, man, this guy takes losses super hard. He looked like he was going to cry in the locker room. Wears his heart on his sleeve. Just an ultimate leader. He's not the fiery leader that a lot of us grew up watching or are accustomed to or would like to see. I mean, listen, I would prefer to have a captain in the fabric of Brady Tkachuk or some of these other guys. But in the end, not every captain does it the same way. Nico leads by example. He does the what he's got to do on and off the ice. He is the leader of this team. He is the heart and soul of the team. And what a monster effort for him, on that double minor, the penalty kill. I mean, I think he threw a few hits alone on that penalty kill, had multiple clears. He had a monster block in the moments before they eventually got the goal. I mean, Nico just put his body on the line and was doing everything he could to kill that penalty. And you saw it. He was out there just battling. Not much more you can say about Nico. He's overall our best player, most valuable player. And not much you could say. And then obviously Nemo, right? What a story for Nemo. Starts off in Utica, wants to be here, gets called up late, in and out of the lineup. Everyone's questioning whether he still has it, what's going on in his head. And he had a monster series. I mean, the kind of reemergence of Shimo Nemitz, he's going to be a beast. And I have to say, I was down on him for a stretch during this season as well, just because after he had those comments to the reporter, and then he kind of came in and struggled. But, I'm hoping he's a longtime Devil. He really looks like he's the real deal. He has the tools, and he's going to be a very good two-way defenseman in this league. And we saw shades of it in the series, and he had a monster game again tonight. I mean, how many minutes did this kid play? He was getting a lot of ice in overtime because he was fresher than everybody else. He played 27-57. I mean, my God. What a night for Nemitz. He had an assist and was a +1. What a night for Shimon Nemitz. The maturation of Shimon before our eyes. But thank you, Jeter Toker. Appreciate it. Blackatron, thank you, sir. Thank you for the super. If Dynasty Devils had a 3-0 lead in the playoffs, the other team was toast. The unrestricted free agents all need to go. And I would explore options on moving Hamilton and Plot. Thanks for everything this year. Let's go Devils. Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Obviously, Dynasty Devils, even 2-0, it was lights out. I mean, 2-0, they're not squandering that. Solid defense, Marty and net. You're done. Game over. But it's a different league, and this is a very different team. We've joked about it all year that no lead is safe. And sure enough, a 3-0 lead was not safe, nor was the 4-3 lead. And it's painful losing a 3-0, blowing a 3-0 lead in an elimination game when, had we won the game, bringing with all the momentum coming back to New Jersey for a game 6. I mean, it's a whole world of a difference, but here we are. Curious to see again. Everyone talks about Dougie and Palat. I'm not sure how likely those moves are, how easy it's going to be for for Fitz to move off either one of those. I do think it would require some real finessing. Oh, I got to put the fan on. I'm dying over here. These lights are hot as shit. But we'll see. I mean, obviously, everyone says Dougie because of the money he makes to free up cap, in addition to freeing up a spot for one of the kids. So we will find out, but hopefully, it all works out. Dougie will be missed when he's gone, though. I have said it. I like Dougie. Despite some of his deficiencies in the D zone and some of the things people complain about, he does create offense, but his clapper is all but gone. I think that pec injury really did him in. We don't see that Dougie bomb anymore. He could still snipe and pick spots when he has the opportunity, but in the end, his biggest weapon was the cannon blast slapper, and that is pretty much gone, and I do believe it is a function of that pec injury. But thank you, Blackatron. Dire Straits, thank you. Fitzgerald has got to go. I can't take it anymore. I'm not a fan of him either, as you all know, but buckle up. He's not going anywhere after this year. Maybe next year, but his job is safe, Dire Straits. It is what it is. M Sharp, thank you. Thanks, Ace. You rock. Appreciate riding out the season with you all. Keep it coming. Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate it. Still gonna be here in the off season. Obviously not as much, but covering any sort of news. I'll do the sporadic live. I'll have a lot of draft coverage. Obviously, free agency. I don't expect it to be nearly as exciting as last year's free agency, obviously, but it will likely involve a lot of bottom six pieces kind of coming in anyway. So I look forward to that. But thanks a lot, M Sharp. It's I can't believe it's over. I can't believe this is my last post-game live until October. ANKX Silencer, thank you. Fire Keefe for getting 3-0 lead and giving me hope. But why is this Keefe's fault? That's why I just don't understand the Keefe hate. One man constructed the roster, and it wasn't Sheldon Keefe. One man failed to bring in reinforcements at the deadline. That also was not Sheldon Keefe. Dire Straits, thank you. Where's our Vladimir Bure? Lou had those cup teams in shape all year with Bure. Fitz is a loser with a hard training staff. I will say, it was evident in the overtime that we were completely dead. It looked like we were moving in quicksand, complete survival mode. 14 shots to 3. It looked like we were skating in sludge, like slow motion. The Canes are flying. We look like we're dying. They're flying. We're dying. And we're dominated. If it wasn't for Markey, it would have ended much earlier in the overtime. But that is really a conditioning thing, right? And this might go back to, again, this is just me kind of spitballing and hypothesizing. This could go back to the country club kind of stuff that Fitz was talking about last year. I was talking to Steve the Maniac, and I was like, how do the Canes look so fresh and we look like we're dying? Obviously, in a situation like that, defending is going to take more out of you than the attack. It's kind of like in boxing, if you're covering up and getting pounded on, like that could be more draining than the guy throwing the punches. And I think that's what it was. We were kind of covering up and they were just wailing on us, and it was just zapping our energy. We had nothing left. And that's why I tweeted out after the first overtime, someone get these guys pizza and Jolt Cola in the locker room because they're dead. They need fuel. And I do think that is kind of a indictment on the training. Like, I don't know if you got whatever it is, you gotta have better conditioning, because they clearly were it wasn't even close. They were the much fresher team in the overtime, and they dominated as a result. But thank you, Dire Straits. Rest in peace, Vladimir Bure as well. He died about 6 months ago. But I do think the team should look for some sort of hardcore, training type person, because we were zapped. And who knows, right? Had the team been in better conditioning, had a better level of stamina in that overtime period, maybe we could have counterpunched once amidst their just all-out assault barrage. If we could have counterpunched once, it could have been, like Dano was saying the whole time, all they need is that one look, right? Like, yes, we were getting dominated, but in the end, the beautiful thing about hockey is if Markey's making the saves, you could have 100 shots to 1, but if we get the one that goes in, that's game, and we had nothing left. So conditioning, definitely a troubling thing after seeing the difference tonight for sure, Dire Straits. Thank you very much. The New York Nobody, thank you. Sheldon, Sheldon, Gareth, Dawson, Werser, Roadmaps, Dumoulin. Keep it going, but only for players you're not happy with. I'm so confused, but thank you for the super chat. Traveling Devil, thank you, sir. One of these seasons, we are going to look back at these tough years and say it was worth it. This was inevitable. Too much went wrong with this team in 2025. October, hurry up. Thank you for your commitment to the channel and the fans. Yeah, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it, Traveling. The thing is, Traveling, I've been, I was telling myself this during the shit years of like, that 14, 15, 15, 16, all those years, I was telling myself the same thing. And this kind of all goes back to the future is bright rhetoric. Like, the future has to be now. And it's just years are ticking off this core. And for the 1 millionth time, I'm going to say it. We just witnessed the conclusion tonight. We just witnessed in the past half hour or so, the conclusion for everyone keeping score at home, the conclusion of the 8th season in the National Hockey League for both nicohischier and jesperbratt. They just concluded their 8th season. And what do these boys have to show for it? Drum roll, please. What do they have to show for it? One single playoff round win. Un playoff round one. One playoff round one, and that was in 2023 against the New York Rangers. And count them 7 total playoff games they've won. That is absolutely grotesque. It is irresponsible. It is nauseating. It is all of the adjectives you could possibly think of. The fact that these two guys are the level of player they are, home drafted, homegrown New Jersey Devils, and in their 8-year careers, they've won a single playoff round in 7 total playoff games across 3 different playoff seasons. I mean, it is absolutely gross. Counting down till October, right with you, Traveling, but I'm disgusted right now because this was just a disgusting way for a season to end. And I'm never going to get over it. Just like last season, another wasted season. I'm glad we made the playoffs, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. That's going to kind of be my first. Gunnar Marks, got to let Duma walk. Good player, but we needed to spend that 3M on a forward. Casey and Nemeth still on cheap deals. Lazar and Tatar is another 2.5. Lazar's not going to be here next year. That's one that I'm almost positive. That's almost one I'm positive is not going to be back, and probably Tatar either. The bottom 6 needs a new look. It is what it is. Hopefully we could find some guys in free agency that could contribute. The New York nobody, Tom Fitzgerald. A lot of our fans have been using that one for a while. Collect Records, thank you, sir. Ace, cheers for keeping these going all season. Would love to do a Fitz of this episode this offseason to air Booze Face related grievances. If we're stuck with him, at least we could talk shit. Let's go Devils. It's not a bad idea. Let me take a picture of that idea. Yeah, the team's gonna love that episode. If you guys haven't guessed, the team is no fan of your boy Ace, but it is what it is. I mean, listen, sometimes the truth hurts. I think I'm usually pretty fair when it comes to things, but I will speak my mind. And when I see something that, doesn't sit well with me, I'm going to say it. And it's, it is what it is. But we might have to have that episode. I don't know how many hours that would be, Collect Records. It would be a rather lengthy episode. It would definitely break the record for longest live of all time for sure. And that one will have to definitely be a call-in. I will have the phone lines open for that one because that'll be straight up comedy. But thanks a lot, Collect Records. David, thank you. NJ.com reports claims Sheldon Keefe complained about Fitz. So again, this is why a lot of players, coaches don't like the media. People were kind of spinning the Sheldon Keefe quotes after the last game about, he said something along the lines of our bottom 6 struggled to score all season. So I'm not sure why you kind of expect them to come out here and dominate in the playoffs. Now, I guess that could be construed as a slight shot at Fitz. I don't think that's the way Keefe intended it whatsoever. I think it was just more of a matter of fact kind of statement. Like, listen, you saw what our bottom 6 was in the season. Like, why would you think that there were going to be these offensive superstars come playoff time? I don't think he meant it as a shot at Fitz. I understand how people took it that way. I think the media sensationalizes everything and kind of looks for the headlines and, the clickbaity kind of shit. And I honestly kind of took that NJ.com article kind of as that. But could it have been a veiled shot at Fitz? Maybe. But in the end, it's the harsh reality. Sometimes the truth hurts. The bottom 6 was underwhelming all year. And what did you expect come playoff time? They are who they are. It is what it is. Joe McCardle, thank you, sir. Good job all season, Ace. This one hurts not as much as Game 7 versus the Rags in 94 for us old-timers. The Cup the following year made that all go away. Yeah, nothing could hurt as much as a Game 7, was that double overtime? Yeah, to get to the Cup in an Eastern Conference final, but the 95 Cup kind of healed it. But really, I thought I didn't, and it still always hurts, but the 2012 Adam Henrique eliminating them in the Eastern Conference finals definitely was the most kind of, I'm not going to call it full payback, but sort of a little revenge. But yeah, this one I'll never, 3-0 lead. My God. But thanks a lot, Joe. Hopefully we have a better season next year, but it's going to be a long time. I'm heartbroken right now. Kieran, thank you. Ace is great. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Kieran. I appreciate that. I'm really hoping for a much better team and playoff run next season. But here we are. I can't believe it, guys. Cheers to all of you. Cheers for everyone to come out. It's pretty late. Maybe not for some of you that aren't in New Jersey. But cheers to you guys. I'm going to do another little nipper. I can't believe it. The season went by super fast. It really did. All right. Now I'm going to start getting into the comments here. I had to take care of all those supers. All right, let me get to my notes too. I'm going to pull up some of these comments. Yeah, 8th season of Nico and Bratter. Terrible. Oh, so the next point I want to make here, for all the people that embrace tanking and were like, oh, we shouldn't even make the playoffs. There's a lot of people that embrace tanking. You guys know me. Tanking is disgusting. It should never be done. Playoffs, even getting our asses kicked, right? Even getting our asses kicked the way we did in this round, even though it was competitive. We were in every game except game 1. This is invaluable playoff experience for these kids. You must try to, punting on seasons is disgusting. And this series, even though we lost, is evidence why I was so infuriated last year. People were like, oh, who cares? We're going to get killed anyway. Teams don't just win Stanley Cups out of nowhere. They got to get there and lose as a group most of the time, several times before they get to the top of the mountain. Teams just don't wake up one day and be like, we're going to be Cup champs and then go do it. They get to the playoffs. They get eliminated in the first round. Maybe the next time they win 2 rounds and they lose in the conference finals. But it's a slow build. Very rarely do teams come out of absolutely nowhere and win a cup. And so that is why I was furious that after the beautiful 22-23 season that we had, that the team was robbed of the opportunity to kind of build on that and go through the playoff grind again. That was massive regression, massive steps backwards. After 22-23, that should have been the turning point where we were a perennial playoff contender, and it wasn't. We didn't make the playoffs last year. I do think it was psychologically damaging to the group. And then we finally made it back this year. But do you not think that, kids like Nemitz, even Casey for the one game, but, as a whole, the group, Luke would have gotten the experience. Obviously, he was injured, so he missed out on it. But this is all valuable experience for this group to grow and learn together. You don't just win cups out of nowhere. It takes time. It's a build, and you got to get there sometimes several times before you get to the cup, before you finally win the cup. And that's why I was so furious about last season, because that was a missed opportunity. Again, another year wasted of the core. And here we are having the same conversation. But I hope that all of the people that embrace tanking and say, I'd rather not make the playoffs, that's a total cop-out loser mentality. You try to make the playoffs at all costs, and making the playoffs is always better than not making the playoffs no matter what. Even if we got swept, I'd be here saying the same thing. This is invaluable experience for the group, and especially the young kids. You can't just write that off. That has tremendous value. Blackatron, what's super frustrating is that the bottom 6 is needed an overhaul since Thanksgiving. It's aggravating that Fitz did nothing. I completely agree, and I was a little more patient. I put out a video in late January that said I was officially hitting the panic button, because at that point I was willing to say, or, not even willing, I was just finally of the mindset that it was more than just a little midseason hiccup and that there was kind of some fundamental flaws. It was after that weekend where we lost at home to both Ottawa and Philly after that, I was like, there's something wrong. And I pressed the panic button and I put the video out. Now, I'm not going to, I was hoping to see some moves made sooner than later. You saw teams make trades, some of them way before the deadline. I'm not going to, criticize anybody for not making a move at that juncture. But, by the time the deadline came, it was now overwhelmingly clear and very obvious that changes need to be made, and they never came. And so people should be held accountable for that. The team was clearly struggling, specifically the offense, the bottom six as well, but something had to be done. And I'm sorry, Daniel Sprong, who didn't even play, and Cody Glass were not going to be the difference makers, and they weren't going to move the needle. And they didn't. Shocking. They didn't. Now, anyone out there who defends this type of maneuvering, tell me with a straight face that you don't think an impact offensive player obtained at the deadline could have been the difference in the series. Think about it. Game 2 was there for the taking. Can't score goals. Game 2 was right there, though. Couldn't score goals. Game 3, we win. Game 4, we cut it to 3-2, and we couldn't really test Kochetkov. Cold. After Freddie got ran over, we cut it to 3-2, and we couldn't really get the offense going. Is anyone going to tell me that having, a guy like McCann, O'Reilly, anyone of substance couldn't have possibly been the difference in that game and ultimately the series? And again tonight. It's just really upsetting. And then the ultimate cherry on the sundae is that despite failing at the deadline, to try to deflect a little bit, Fitz was mentioning Gritsuk potentially coming over from Russia during that to deflect, which has nothing to do with the deadline. But on deadline day, he's like, we maybe bring Gritsuk over, which is a total cop-out as well. It pacifies people that don't know any better, which unfortunately, I would say the majority of fan bases of most teams are uneducated, and you could kind of have the wool pulled over your eyes. You're not pulling the wool over the eyes of Ace or many of you educated fans that are here tonight, as well as, all over the beautiful state of New Jersey and this planet that are more educated fans that will not have their intelligence insulted. Bringing up Gritsuk on deadline day after it's a failure is just trying to deflect the heat off of you for failing to bring in anyone significant and talking about coming in second place. He's like, I came in second. But Gritsuk, he should have been trying to bring Gritsuk over, even if we landed a player, that we should have, like, an O'Reilly, McCann, whatever it was. Even bringing one of those guys in at the deadline, the Gritsuk thing should have always been in the background regardless. It had nothing to do with deadline day. But the ultimate, cherry on the sundae, like I said, is talking about that on deadline day and then not even doing that. There was no reason for Gritsuk not to be playing in the playoffs. Montreal brings in their KHL guy, Demidov. He's producing. The Canes have their guy they brought over. He'll probably maybe play in the next round. So it's just layer after layer of inexcusable non-moves that were there for the taking and did not happen. And in the end, you have to be realistic and say, if some of these things were executed on, this could have been a very different series, despite our whole team being nicked up. Our whole team being nicked up. It's just stuff that drives me mad. Rapid Blue is the new black. Thank you. No comment there, but thank you for the super. Ace hates all my names. Allen let go in the offseason. Yeah, I think he's a cap casualty. I think in the end, Fitz loves veterans. I think he would love to bring Allen back, but other teams are going to offer him money that we cannot afford to pay, and I don't see him taking a massive pay cut to stay here. So I think he will be gone. It is what it is. It's time for Nico Dawes or Poulter or whoever to step up. Maybe Malik. We'll find out. But if I had to bet on it, I would say the favorite right now is Dawes. Gotta utilize him. Max, y'all going crazy with the super chats. I don't know what GG is. Supporting our guy while you're at it. Smash the like. Yeah, hit the like for your boy, please. Please hit that. Dire Straits, Nemitz, Dumo, and Nico deserve better. Markey shit the bed in the second period. He did. Yeah, and those are probably our three best players in the game, Dire, for sure. The emergence of Nemo is one of the only, again, I hate talking about moral victories and silver linings, but if there is any moral victories and silver linings in this game, the main one is that Nemo's legit. That's probably the the main thing.
It felt great, and if I'm
I lost my spot now.
more like relief. Like I was like, I got that one out of the way because you don't know how long you're going to be in the NHL for, and you know you want to make it count, but you want to officially get on the score sheet. So getting that first one is something really special. You have to bring something.
What's going on, Ted? Kudos again to Shimo Nemitz for sure. For sure. Dimitri, how can we not go after Zetterlund? These are the style players we need. You know, for the crowd that's like, well, what, you know, because when you say, oh, we didn't do anything substantial at the deadline, people are like, well, who did you want? Well, I'm like, I named a million people. And then their genius response is, well, they weren't traded. I'm like, well, that doesn't mean that they weren't available. So the fact that they weren't traded elsewhere does nothing for your argument. But with that being said, when I talk to those types of people that need to hear a player's name that was traded, I will always refer to Zetterlund for sure. He could have helped in this series. There's no doubt about it. Gunnar, did Casey play it all in overtime? Get why he wouldn't, but the Hamilton-Siegs pair was brutal. I don't think he did. Again, they're definitely afraid to put him out there. But, you know, he finally got his chance tonight, and he played, let's say, I think he played like 9-13. Wow, yeah, he didn't play for a while at the end. Jay Snow, we need forwards with size. I completely agree. Ted says ace fire fits. I wish I could. Doug, first things first, sign Luke Hughes, second trade Hamilton, and replace with a righty top six forward. Third, fill and bottom six legit guys. Well, Luke's definitely going to get signed. I think they'll explore trading Dougie, again, because of the money situation. I don't know the feasibility of it, but who knows? We'll see. And then, yeah, the bottom six is a massive offseason project. NJ Fanatic, you got to lose before you learn to win. Exactly, which is why I keep telling, you know, from last year, when people are like, oh, I don't even want to make the playoffs, we're going to get killed. I said, who cares? Making the playoffs is better than not making the playoffs, period. Period. You have to get there. And like you said, learn to lose before you learn to win. Teams don't just come out of nowhere and win Stanley Cups. That's not how it works. So it's painful when people take that approach. I can't really understand the logic there. SJ says if they fire Fitz, I'm afraid they get a worse GM. SJ, that is not possible, my man. The bar is very low. And I praised him for his offseason last season, but the in-season maneuvers this year were god-awful. Doug says, yeah, trade our best offensive players who need offense. That makes sense. Max says the New York nobody flubbed the trade deadline. He has this summer to get some shit together and make us feel better. If he fails, get him out of here. He should have already been gone, honestly, in my opinion, Max. He shouldn't have been here this year, but, you know, it seems like he's bulletproof. They made the playoffs, and I think we're stuck with him for a while. Luke, great stuff all season, Ace. Appreciate the channel and all the extra stuff you do. Let's go Devils. I appreciate that. Thank you, Luke. Yeah, this year we don't have a first-round pick. I'm just saying, in general, when people say get a better pick, that's like a very common thing that people say when they want to tank, which is ridiculous. Rapid Blue is the new black. Ace, I just want to thank you for all of your hard work all year. If the Devils had as much heart as you, we would have won tonight. Everyone gives Ace a thumbs up now. He deserves at least 250. Yeah, appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up for your boy. Hit the thumbs up for your boy. Playoffs? Playoffs? Broad Street Flyer. Yeah, at the end of the season, I still wanted the Flyers to win out. At least you go out swinging. Yeah, have some pride. Have some friggin' pride. Greg says, yes, it takes experience and playoff loss to get there. Yeah, that whole notion is lost on a lot of people. They don't understand that it takes getting there and getting your asses kicked. That's part of the whole thing. Anson Meadows, thank you. Thanks for your work this season, Ace. Always good takes. One day we got to get you doing locker room interviews. I would love to be able to do that, Anson. I don't know if that will ever be realistic. And if it doesn't, then so be it. I have other things up my sleeve. I'll be doing interviews this summer. And so, sometimes I like the unconventional interview thing better as well. It would be nice to be able to do locker room interviews as well. But as it stands right now, I don't know how feasible it is. But thank you very much, Anson. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you watching and obviously partaking in these lives, as painful as they may be on some evenings after horrible losses and the amount of dooming in here. But thank you very much.
30 minutes, 2 hours.
I powered out.
I was a 2 hour napper. So
SJ says, agree, Ace. The Canes are ahead of the Devils. They need more playoff games. Don't miss playoffs. Yeah, last year was a squandered opportunity. Last year should have been another kind of building block type season at worst, where you get to the playoffs and you just, go through that grind. Roman Checkmonic, I love how we gave up a second for Dumo for one playoff win. I like him and people are happy we had him, but it's a total waste of an asset. We could have used it to try to get rid of Palat. Yeah, I'm not going to kill the move because it shows trying to win at some level. Not now, am I furious at all the moves that didn't happen? Absolutely. But I can never use hindsight, because what would you say if we had won the series, Roman? And obviously we didn't, so it's easy to say that now. But had we won the series, would you say it was worth it then? I always want the attempt. I'm judging the attempt. I can't use the hindsight to go back and judge moves like that. After the fact. Every season going forward, as long as Fitz is at the helm, I have no expectations of anything happening before the deadline or anything happening impactful on deadline day. And I think I'm right there with you. I think that's a very, what else has happened to make us believe otherwise, right? So I'm right with you there as well. It sucks, but the proof is there. What else have we seen? We have nothing to go on other than history. And the history suggests that that's exactly correct. Doug says you got to retool the core. Out goes Hamilton and in goes a top 6 righty goal scorer. That would be nice. That would be nice. Get a real, I would like a scrappy variety scoring winger, but we need some toughness in the top 6. For the people that don't believe in it, just watch the playoff games. These guys are dogs and it's a war. It's a totally different game. I didn't realize, I did, but the extent to which players are holding back and waiting for the playoffs to unleash that level of game. But I would like a physical variety scoring winger for sure. Gunner says they'll float at a bubble playoff team for the next 2 to 3 years, but after that, we're potentially, but as long as Bradder, Nico, and Timo are here, which is for a while, if we could just find some cheap bottom 6 guys that can contribute, you could kind of catch lightning in a bottle. I'm not confident in Fitz being able to do it, but in theory, teams have done it before. It's not impossible, and we do have good building blocks, main pieces, but Luke says it's hard to win with an internal budget. I completely agree as well. Not spending the LTIR money 2 years in a row, that's definitely very telling. Woodson, why would teams give us good players for our bad players? I don't know what that's in reference to. I'm just talking about maybe you're talking about the people talking about trades. Max, by the way, we also lost to Taka to the Swedish League. His time in NJ is done. I figured that was inevitable, man. Listen, once we had all the injuries to the D and he was never called up, and then the final straw for me was that he was not part of the team's plans, was when we had to trade for Dumoulin and Chalowski. To me, it was like, okay, and I even said at the time, like, clearly Hataka is never coming up, so this does not come as any sort of surprise to me, Max. Jay Snow, this team has 0 depth. Yep. Sad but true. Greg, this wasn't a year wasted of the core. Playoff experience is huge. Plus, we need Hughes and co. Not wasted in the sense we didn't make the playoffs, but wasted in the sense that we did not push our chips, not fully in the middle, but make a more concerted effort to bring in the pieces to help the team, for the home stretch of the season and the playoffs. So for me, any year that you don't go far, it's kind of a wasted year just because, yeah, we made the playoffs. And is the playoff experience great? Absolutely. But when those guys are here, you got to try to give them more support. And again, 8 years of nicohischier and jesperbratt, they've won a single playoff round, 7 total playoff games. If that's not alarming to you, I don't know what would be. Knowles, you're dead on, bro. Fitz dropped the ball at the deadline. I don't know if it was entirely his fault or if no one wanted to come to the Devils, but horrible. No, guys that don't have no move and no trade clauses have no say over where they trade. It's Fitz dropping the ball, absolutely. Woodson, no trade deadline deal on the planet would have made this team competitive for a cup run. Cup run, maybe not, but to win a round or two, I think it was definitely possible. We were right there in every game with this team now, and that's with all the injuries. Had we not had all the injuries, plus a meaningful player at the deadline, I have to disagree. Woodson, this series was there for the taking, and we couldn't take it. The right move would have been to tank for what? And we don't even have the first rounder this year. Woodson, tanking is for losers. Stanley, the experience of having your shit pushed experience of having your shit pushed mad respect. Am I right, Canes fans? I'm not sure what that's about. Doug says, Woodson, you are a loser mentality. I completely agree. BC says, Fitz is a shit GM. Rapid Blue is new black. I would never hire John Woodson with his tanking mentality. I completely agree. Tanking is disgusting. Rapid Blue is new black. You don't tank when you have the third playoff spot. Woodson, it's what you get when you have the softest superstar in the league. He gets injured, season over. To me, that is a little bit of, I've said this before as well. Anytime for a team for any sport, if you're one player injury away from your team just collapsing, then your team is not built right. No great team in the history of sports was a completely one-man team, and I don't think this team is a one-man team. But the loss was felt for sure. But I think there's a lot of other elements and variables that go into it as well. I'm not going to say the entire season or playoffs were cooked when Jack got hurt. There was so many other things as well. But it's rough. It's rough. Steven says, I don't like Dawes at all for backup. I hope we can find a way to bring back Allen. I just can't see it. He's going to get paid. We don't have the money. You guys are talking about Kreider. I don't want Kreider. Gennaro says, I don't know as well as you guys, but I don't think Kreider is your answer. Yeah, I don't want Kreider. Casey weighs 150 pounds right now. Give him some credit, man. He weighs at least 160. Max says Canes, then Florida will cave in the Canes again. Trade for Jordan Kyrou. I would love Jordan Kyrou, but that would be an expensive acquisition for sure. I mean, I would explore it. If he's being shopped, I would certainly explore it. Cody, so what are we hunting for our bottom six? Do you mean are you looking for specific player names, or I don't know what you're looking for exactly, but I'm hoping for sizable guys with some hands that could hit and just be hard to play against and generate offense. The offensive production of the bottom six was just gross. My Bob 36 wouldn't have minded seeing Allen start game 4 to give Markey a breather. That's not a real thing in the playoffs. You can't. You got to ride your guy. You got to ride the guy. Markey was the guy. We win or go down with Markey. And he played good in every. He played very good in games 1 through 3. Not the best outing in game 4, but the team overall sucked. And then tonight was shaky, and then he somewhat redeemed himself in the third period in the overtimes. But wow. Gennaro, I hate the Canes. So do I. So do I. Alex, Nashville is smart signing Marchessault and Stamkos. I wish we had them on our roster. We would have gone far. Supposedly we were in on both of them, and they both went for the mega paydays in the state income tax-free state, and we couldn't compete. I did hear a rumor on Cam and Strick, though, that they're saying Stammer and the Preds may like mutually void his contract, which would be crazy. Similar to what Saad did with the Blackhawks. That would be wild. If that happens, I would try to get Stammer because he's going to probably want less money, I'd imagine. Hey, Ace, do you get sources because resources, Seton Hall? I have no idea what that means. Steven, the way the Canes fly across the screen and embellish is something I've never seen before. It's like the physics of a beach ball. Yeah, there are a lot of divers. New York, nobody. Maybe your Devils need a few more greasy players. Absolutely. They definitely need some more greasy players. Do you guys think Toronto chokes? I would absolutely love to see it. I picked the Sens in my bracket, even though my bracket's probably going to be decimated after this first round. Oh man, the MSG broadcast is starting again. It's like it does a loop, so now the game's restarting. Oh god. I get to relive the misery. Unbelievable. But I hope Toronto chokes. That would really be a story. Max says Toronto has the potential to choke again halfway to the choke. It would be awesome. Snow, can't wait for the Fitz garbage press conference. Oh, it's gonna be one for the ages. Can we go to the Fitzgerald press conference and boo his ass? No, they wouldn't allow that, but that would be pretty funny. Cody, last year offensive, this year defense. Do you think we could find both next season? All I could do is hope. It's gonna come down to what gets done with the bottom six. Does the bottom six produce at all next year? Do they produce at all? That is the big question. Can we get players who could produce in the bottom six and not have to rely on the top guns night in and night out? We're gonna find out. Woodson said, I'd rather save an attempt when we have a better chance to win more than one playoff game. We had a chance to win the series. Game 2 was right there for the taking. As was game 4 and was tonight. We blew a 3-0 lead. So you can't, despite the 4-1 series score, it was much closer than that, and you know it. Dylan, so do you think we're going to get Quinn Hughes or no? I do believe at the latest in a couple years when he's an unrestricted free agent that I do think he will sign with the Devils. Stanley, these owners, if you aren't sick of the Fitzgerald experience, especially after these last 2 seasons, then you honestly have no intention on winning. It's cruel what he's done to this team. Completely agree. There's no logic against it. That is the harsh reality. Mark, hey, Ace, the Devils have no kick coming. They blew a 3-0 lead. Have a nice summer. I'll see you next year. I'll make sure I smash the like on the way out. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Mark. I'll be here throughout the summer as well. Louis, I was mad at the Dumo trade, but it turned out to be a good move. Yeah, it did. Because of all the injuries, it became very important. But in the end, we're out in 5 games. So, I'm not going to sit here and have a parade for it. Charles says Sam Bennett's a free agent, has grit. He is. He's also going to get paid a ton, and we don't have money to pay him for the under the cap. Max, did y'all see that Keefe said post-game that Keefe knew Luke and Dylan wouldn't be back for playoffs after game 1? I'm sure he did. Like I've told people all along, when people were obsessively asking me and others about the injury updates, I'm like, this is the playoffs. You're not getting concrete information. There's a chess match going on here, and you're going to get misinformation, and, you know, that's all part of it. Trying to gain a competitive advantage through the, you know, guarding of information on injuries. That's nothing new. That's gone on forever. Steven Siegs absolutely blasted Seth Jarvis in OT. Love that dude. Oh, that was great. He stood him up good. Stood him up real good. Total bomb. Boom. Blackatron says I'm done with the Mercer experiment. I could take or leave him. That's kind of where I'm at. For $4 million, is he the worst player? No. Would I be devastated if we traded him? No. It is what it is. If you can upgrade him, absolutely do it. Bob, isn't Nason that scoring physical winger you need? He's a bottom 6 guy. I would like a scoring physical winger in the top 6. He is a bottom 6 guy. There's a very big difference. Rapid Blue is new black. The Devils never give Ace Media credentials because they are afraid that he would call out ownership on their bullshit excuses for not spending money when they should. Maybe. It's possible. Jason, no, Nason's not a top 6 guy. No, he's not. JM, give me the CBGB line back. One of the better fourth lines in Devils history, obviously instrumental on that 2012 Cup run where we ultimately lost to the Kings. But Steven Gianta, Steve Bernier, Ryan Carter, we'll always remember that run. It ended in a heartbreaking fashion, but it was that 2012 run was very fun, and they were a big part of it. Gary Roberts boot camp. JM, assume Jake Allen probably out and Dawes as the backup. That's what I think is going to happen. Max, I think LaChance will be a great add to the bottom 6 next year. I'm not so sure you see him in the bottom 6, Max. I think he's going to start in Utica. It would be interesting if he makes the team out of camp. I'm not counting on that, but it's possible. It's definitely possible. Brian J. Ace, thanks for everything this year. Really disappointed with how the season went, but hopefully we'll be better next year. We need some big changes. Hope to God our front office makes them. Yeah, man, I hope so too, Brian. It's going to be a long 5 months, man. I just can't believe it, that it's already over. Seems like it just started. Blackatron, time for Dawes to put on his big boy pants. Not paying $2 million for another year of a 35-year-old backup tendy. I agree. We can't afford Allen, and I think he might get more than $2 million on the open market. I think there's going to be a ton of teams looking for him. SJ, shout out to Pesci, dude, as a Warrior. Absolutely played through probably several injuries tonight. He's been solid all year. Max, really pissed we gave McDermott a contract and then and made him earn every dollar by watching from the press box. I love McDermott, franchise legend in my book, always the main character in that 5-on-5 brawl with the Rangers. Finally, we kind of had some pushback to Rempe in that whole situation. But I do think it was a terrible contract if you're never going to play him, and they didn't. And so it's terrible. We'll see how that plays out. 2902 project. Who is Fitz, the owner? No, Tom Fitzgerald is the general manager. GM, yep. Stanley, all of us diehards know deep down that we're screwed. We can lie to ourselves and say things will improve, but just look at Boozeface's work and the fallout to come. We're effed. Brutal. Brutal. Jason says if our special teams didn't suck. Yeah, special teams lost us the series, in my opinion. M. Sharp, I think a low point of the season was when we didn't make moves at trade deadline we knew. Oh, well, you all know my reaction to that. And despite all that, we still could have gutted this series out, but you know, the deadline non-additions did not help at all. Gunnar Allen was over 900 for the year. He kept them afloat, and Markey went down. No chance they would have kept 3 in the Metro with Dawes. I can't say that because at that point, I believe Dawes was 3-0 with like very good numbers. And so I agree that you can't assume he would have done the same. I'm going to also say you can't assume that he couldn't have, because in the first however many games he played in the season, he had very good numbers and he looked solid. Blackatron, how many fights did McDermott have? If he isn't going to fight every game, trade him. You're not going to get much in trade for him. I also believe that a lot of these guys were told not to fight. We saw tons of fights early on in the season, and then they moved away from it entirely. Max, special teams drown the Devils in the storm surge. It really did. Knowles, look, all we wanted is exactly what you said about winning a round or two, but how do you do that without a fair shot at it? It's hard to believe the refs were not in on it somehow. That's all LOL. Horrific officiating. For sure. JM, to me, it still felt super weird with this franchise ever since the Covey deal and Parisi leaving. I mean, essentially, that's kind of when the, dozen years or so of mostly painful teams kind of began. Jason, look at Dallas. They have no Robertson or Heiskanen. Yeah. They got a lot of dogs on that lineup, though. Stanley says if Dawes backs up next year, there's zero chance of playoffs. Get ready for Vitek, Akira, 24 all over again. I don't think that could happen against Stanley just because the defense is going to be much better than last year. It's already proven that it is. So I don't think it could ever be that bad. Could he struggle? Maybe, but it might not be Dawes. Jacob Malik is going to throw his name in the hat, try to win a spot out of camp. Isaac Poulter will be pushing for a spot. And so there's no guarantee that it's Dawes. I just think at the moment he would be the favorite. But anything could happen in camp and with the preseason. Beachmaster Jack didn't get any playoff experience. Yeah, it's super unfortunate. Jason says, no way Casey weighs 160, 150 soaking wet. That's light, man. I don't know. I haven't heard anyone talking about Cam Squires. The dude is a stud and had 4 points in 3 games with Utica. I have talked about him several times, actually. He was a guy that looked impressive to me in the rookie development camp, and he also had a very good showing last summer in the Prospects Challenge. And I forget what his stats were, but he looked very good. He's still super young, right? I think he's is he 20 yet or is he 19? Oh, he literally just turned 20 a couple weeks ago. So yeah, he's another one. I don't know that he's going to make the team next year. That might be a kind of an, a very lofty aspiration. I'm sure in his head he wants to and thinks he can, but I imagine he will start next year in Utica, I believe. And inevitably when there's injuries, because we all know there is going to be injuries, right? There's no way there's not going to be. He may have his number called at some point next season. You never know. That would be a great story. Young kid like Squires to come in and have an impact. Noel says Markey smashing a stick and going for a second swing is a perfect response to tonight. Do you think Markey will be with us till he retires? It's tough to say. I think he wants to win. And whether he wants to continue to play after next year, when his contract ends, remains to be seen. I think that's going to be dictated by how does he look next year. But if he looks decent, I would love to have him for another year or two beyond next season before finally making the transition to my man, Big Mike Yegorov. Jungle Static Mercer for Ryan O'Reilly. Ehlers in free agency and push other players down. Gritsuk hopefully brings something, add a fourth line or two. Where's the money coming for that signing for Ehlers? Where's the money coming from? Clyde, I was at the game as a Devils fan in Carolina. It was great seeing OT Markey really pissed the Canes off. He was on his head, man. He stood on his head, kept him in there. Gunner, Fitz would rather pay $2 million for some washed 35-year-old than start Squires with the Devils next year. Luke Terreri was awesome in the playoffs in '94, getting some starts. Yeah, I believe he had a big win or two in Boston. Oh, that was '95. We're talking about '94. I don't recall that one. Let me look it up. I was super young, so I can't recall those details as easily as I can of some other years. Yeah, Marty had a rough game 2 that year. Then Terrari won game 3 and game 4. And then Marty came in with a shutout. Wow. Jason, no, it was too late by the time Markey woke up. Yeah, that second period we were just under fire and he couldn't come up with the big saves. Stanley, let's all chip in and purchase a Fire Fitzgerald billboard. And how much can it be? That'd be a pretty funny like fan stunt. Brian J, I hate the Canes, but I hate Brindamore even more. Yeah, he's such a crybaby. He was crying all game long too. Like, shut up, Rod. You guys got all the calls. It was crazy. J.M. Markstrom also played like every game with a different D group in front of him. Honestly, the most solid I felt at the goaltending position since Marty. I agree for sure. For sure. You know, sometimes you get shaky outings, but overall, I think well, no, don't forget Corey Schneider, JM. Corey Schneider had a couple good years in there. But aside from that, that was it. Marty, Schneider, Markey. Mike K, just arriving in the chat. Markstrom's performance in OT was one of the best I've seen in any playoff game. Insane. 5 or 6 highlight reel saves in the overtime alone. Steven, Stammer and Timo on opposite circles on our power play. Holy moly. Can you imagine? Would love Line. I wanted him whenever that was, last year or the year before when he was made available. The New York Nobody, I used to work for Lamar Advertising Company. It's like $5K for a billboard. That's kind of around what I expected. Around there. James says, have to bring back Chico Eats to break the curse. It's 3-0 right now on the Canes rebroadcast. Painful. Dimitri says, are fans afraid of Lou compared to Fitzgerald? He could be 101. I'd take him any day over Fitzgerald. Jungle Static, love Terrari, my favorite devil. Chris Terrari, number 31. Insane. SJ says, teams with no tax have a real advantage. Why not sign for no tax? No, I've talked about this at length before. I think the league has to figure something out because it is a wildly unfair advantage. If your team plays in a state tax or a state income tax free state, when you're talking about these guys getting paid all this money, that is a monster savings. And as a result, is a monster advantage you have when recruiting these guys. It's insane. Utah Mammoth is the new name confirmed. I don't know how I feel about that. It's interesting. Luke is dreaming here. Hamilton to Anaheim. They want to take a step, have cap space, and need a top pair power play defender. That'd be interesting. And then Palat to SJ with picks as a sweetener. Those would be 2 very interesting moves if anything along those lines were to happen. Timo just scored on the replay. Must be nice. Jason says, I love Bennett. You do whatever to make cap. I would love Bennett, but I feel like he might get a monster contract. Yeah, hold on, guys. 1 second. I need to turn it off, actually. It really is. It really is. I'm getting my heart stomped on again. Let me just watch the last replay. By the way, for people that shit on Palat, playoff Palat may not have scored, but he made some big plays. And on that Timo goal, he rocked somebody on the forecheck, which led to the whole thing. I meant to bring that up before, but my mind, hold on, let me turn this off. I can't watch this again. Hold on. 1 second. I can't watch it again. Yeah, it's painful. I had to turn that off. Yeah, I would love Sam Bennett. He's a dog. I just can't believe the season's over, man. Yeah, I turned it off. Sorry, guys. The loop came back on. The beginning of the end almost. Max says Yegorov will be here at the end of the Markey contract. I don't know about that. That's 1 year. I think I know. Oh yeah, now that the season's over, look for the Jay Pandolfo interview will be coming out soon. The Jay Pandolfo interview will be coming out soon. I'm almost done editing it. Editing some of these interviews are a pain in the ass, but I wanted to get it out before the playoffs, but it crept up on me, and then the playoffs happened. Then I was like, screw it, I'll wait till after the playoffs. So look for that. That'll be coming out soon. But we talked about that. At the time, this was a couple months ago when I did the interview, Jay Pandolfo was hoping to have Yegorov for 2 more seasons after this one that just finished. So he was hoping he gets him for next year and the year after. But who knows? Maybe he will be 1 more next year and be done. We'll see how it all plays out. But I expect Jay Pandolfo's Boston University Terriers to be lethal next year with Big Mike and net all year. P-Funk, brutal end to a brutal season. Jack going down was the death knell, and we were all in denial. It didn't have to be, though. That's the thing. It did not have to be. Had we gotten someone impactful at the deadline, man, I swear, like we were in every game in the series. They were right there for the taking. We could have won the series despite all the injuries and not having Jack. Jason, no, literally, I feel like it was just the beginning of the season. It flew by. This very well may be the fastest season for me in terms of how quick it went by. This one seemed to be one of the fastest, if not the fastest, Jason, no, for whatever reason. Jason says Malik will be here next year. You think he's going to beat out Dawes in camp? SJ, Quick was insane. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Yeah, man. Another squandered opportunity. That would have been a nice one to get towards the end of Marty's career. Stanley says, no first-round pick this year in exchange for goaltending that yielded us 5 additional games. I'd dump on the Dumoulin trade, but it's one thing I'll give the bald fraud credit for. He was a stud, for sure. Jungle Static, Mercer plus what gets us Shane Wright? Oh, I'd imagine a lot, man. I don't know. You definitely have to add to that for sure. Max, I don't want to see this team holding on to any more first-round picks, any round picks. Get the assets to win now. Yeah, welcome to the club, Max. I've been saying this for years. The core again, 8 years of Bratter and Nico, and I don't want to keep bringing up negative stuff, but the reality is I am deathly afraid. I now have nightmares of nicohischier not signing here long-term and ultimately getting traded beforehand, which would just be a dark, dark day in franchise history. Stanley says, what about the Sprong trade? That was a booze masterclass. Stanley, Mercer needs to be packaged as one of the many albatross contracts that we're saddled with. I wouldn't be mad at it. Charles says, I hope we face the Canes next year. At this point, I don't know. They might be the team that we could just never get past. Gets real. If the injuries never happened, we would have had a high chance at beating Carolina. But next season, if we face the Canes again, we'll be ready. Let's go Devils. I don't know. I think you guys are smoking some of that hopium. I have also heard rumors that Hami Naho is coming to Utica as well for next season. If he comes over, I think he's another guy that would have a chance to crack the lineup, depending. Listen, if him and Gritsuk could be contributing players in the bottom 6, that'd be phenomenal. Or even better, if somehow one of them could be in the top 6 and one in the bottom 6, that would be awesome. Might be asking for a lot, but, JM Jack has played 12 playoff games. You only need to figure out how to get him through a full season and into the playoffs. It's going to be a challenge. He's obviously injury prone. It is what it is. Hopefully he can put them behind him and eventually play full seasons, but I just don't know what it's going to take for that to happen. Would love to see him play all 82. Hopefully next year is the year. I said that before this year. Noel says, yeah, man, psych for Yegorov. Who is replacing Allen? Dawes, or I missed what you said, lazy to scroll back. I think as of right now, on paper, the favorite would be Dawes, but I do think Jacob Malik and Isaac Poulter are both going to be competitors for that spot. And the spot will be won by one of those gentlemen in training camp / the preseason. It's actually not as loud as you thought. I guess this mic is pretty sensitive. It was loud, but it wasn't like crazy loud. M. Sharp, hard to find a true enforcer. If fits today's game, you have to rely on a big body, grit, madly competitive, great skating, smarts, and take any slight to a player personal. New breed Kachucks. To a lesser extent, I would put Tom Wilson in there as well. Tom Wilson's a guy that me and Steve the Maniac have drooled over for years. I would have loved Tom Wilson on this team at any point in the past several seasons and still would. Steven, 2014, Corey Schneider was on a different planet than Markey. Yeah, he was very good. Very good season for Corey. Max, Rod knows how to get the best out of his players. I could admit that. Yeah, he's a very good coach. Very, very good coach. Broad Street Flyer, what happened to Utah's YouTube channel? I have no idea. Did something happen to it? Max, 41 of your paychecks are zero tax immediately. Each game check needs to be filed in the state it was played. Yeah, that's half of the season is not touched. Jay Snow plot was super noticeable tonight. Yeah, for sure. I'm laughing at all you guys talking about turning off the game. I guess you heard it in the background, reliving the pain. Let me go back for a minute. Luke, if Palat was at $3 million and playing bottom six normally, he wouldn't be an issue. Completely agree. But I do think the penalty, if we buy him out, is like $3.5 million or something in the first year. And so it is true. Like, are you going to buy him out and then replace him with someone better for the $2.5 million difference from what he's making and the penalty? Like, that's why I think he's going to be here again next year. It is what it is. This is in reference to Bennett, how I got here. Jeremy Proper, Florida is maxed out in campaign. I don't think they will either. It seems like, he won his cup and he will be moving on to the highest bidder. Max, I don't think Florida will have room with their upcoming contracts. I don't think they will. Jay Snow says the Rangers are going to pay for Bennett. I would hate to see it. Steven, Ace, you should do some post games for other playoff series. This can't be goodbye. It's never goodbye. I'll definitely be doing some sporadic lives in the summer for sure when I feel appropriate. Maybe just some completely random ones. But anything with big news, there'll obviously be videos. I was fairly active last summer, I believe. But there'll definitely be some sort of lives for the draft and free agency, as well as any other things that I feel are live worthy. But there'll definitely be a good amount of videos. I have some really cool stuff planned for the summer, interviews and different types of things I'll be putting out. So there will be a lot of stuff coming out in the summer. Obviously not as much as during the season, but I'll definitely be around in the summer for sure. Luke says Bennett is going to get so overpaid. I think so too. But you got to sometimes you got to overpay. Just like how we had to overpay for Dougie, right? Like in free agency, these guys are getting paid. Teams are desperate and they're like, screw it. We'll overpay a little bit to get the guy. Stanley, it's settling in now that so many of us called the Devils blood in the 3-0 lead. Then for good measure, we blew another lead as well. Who did we piss off this treatment? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. 3-0. We blow that lead. Then it's tied 3-3. We take the 4-3 lead and blow that too. It really is just unfathomable levels of choke. Like, that's a massive choke. In a game of this magnitude, you just cannot choke that bad. And we did, and it sucks. Andres Plot is the team best +5 in the playoffs. Shout out to Pally. He's taking a lot of heat this year from the fans as well. Husky Unchained, Yegorov and Pando can come over together. That would be something, wouldn't it? I'm afraid Pando gets an NHL head coaching job elsewhere before the Devils coaching job becomes vacant again. Jay, I'm still just impressed with what we got in Nico. He was out there so much of the OT. Imagine we took Nolan Patrick. Crazy. The poor Flyers. My heart goes out to them. But yeah, Nico on that last penalty kill before they scored was huge. Had a couple. He broke up a couple passes, hit a couple guys. He obviously took a big ate a puck on a big block shot. He's a beast. Charles says Mitch Marner is another option. Canes are looking for him. He's going to get super paid. Super paid. Andrei Strechnikov, why do you think your GM didn't add at the deadline? Do you think it was a transition year for you? They didn't add at the deadline because the owners are cheap, I think. That's my realistic. We had mountains of LTIR money. And we didn't spend it. And so that's the only logical answer you could come up with. Jay Snow, they say Malik is on the same path as Dostal. We'll see. I saw Malik at rookie camp a couple times now, and he's a big guy, and he looked pretty good to me as well. Luke, I think Boozeface will run it back. Injuries will be the excuse. Right now, $12 million projected, 8-9 for Luke. Let's say $3 million left. They either buy out, trade Palat, or trade Hamilton. Have no choice. It seems like, you know, the most likely path to free up money. And that'd be a shame if tonight was, you know, Dougie's last game as a Devil. Stanley 62495. Jack is not the answer. It may not be what we want to hear, but how many more years of this do we want to endure? He cannot be counted on. Get a competent GM in here and make a bold trade. It's time. I can't keep talking about this, Stanley. They're definitely not going to trade him. And in the end, I don't think you'd get remotely as much as people would expect, which is just another reason on top of the original reasons why it won't happen. Dr. Brian Keefe will be here next year for sure. Yeah, you can't put this season on him, or at least the roster he had to work with was subpar. Max Keefe is 2,000% here. I'm with you. Stanley, injuries are always the excuse. Yeah, it's a built-in excuse. Max, why are we still questioning Keefe? It's weird because people, it's the human nature. They want to blame the finger at a single individual. Damien, what's going on? Hey, Ace, sorry to come in late. I'm a little depressed from this outing. I even had a watch party today. I ended up flipping a couch and throwing a chair. Everyone got scared, but damn, what a loss. The worst kind. A 3-0 lead and then a 4-3 lead and then brutal. Just double minor, stick in the face. Mike K, I wanted Queef to change the strategy in overtime. Stop just dumping it into their D-men and maybe put Bratt with Nico and Timo to get it going. They looked dead, man. They looked completely dead. They had nothing left. We lost the battle of conditioning for sure. Metro is weak. Atlantic is beast. For sure. That is true. Jason says, give me Matthew Nyes. He's a really good power forward. He's going to get paid crazy as well. Another big deal going to be handed out. SJ Canes are a consistent playoff team. I give them that. Yeah. And we used to be one of those teams as well. We were going to the playoffs every single year. The only question was, how far can they go? And it's been a while since then. Luke says Rag's going to get Marner and maybe JT. I mean, do they have that much cap space? I haven't looked at their situation, but that'd be crazy. That's a lot of money. You're talking, that's got to be damn near 20 million between the two of them. M Sharp, Tom Wilson is a huge body. I was shocked at his size at a game earlier this season. Wilson is a monster man, and he's nasty. Nasty. Mark, this offseason buyouts, terminate contracts, and trade some roster players for picks so we can have some cap space. Fitz won't do that, though, because he's an idiot. Luke says, can't buy Palat out. He has to be moved in a trade or he's back. Oh, wait, Boozeface is our GM. Never mind. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get bought out just because, again, who are you replacing him with the differential between the penalty and his contract is like $2.5 million. That's not getting you much. Beachmaster, Canes fans calling for a penalty every time they dive is embarrassing. I will say I hate their crowd. They literally cry like hundreds of times a game. Anytime someone is touched, they want a penalty. And it's like, we got so molested by the refs tonight. How many more penalty calls could you possibly want? Noah William Miller, I'm curious what everyone thinks about Nemitz now. I was really impressed with him these last 2 games. Yeah, he's kind of turned the whole narrative surrounding him around. Monster couple games, especially tonight. He had the game 3 winner. It's certainly quite the story for Nemitz, and I'm happy for the kid. I'm sure he had a really tough year mentally. SJ Nemitz will be a stud. He shows flashes of offense. I think he's going to be for sure, and I hope it's here. Evan, we need to be more consistent next season. We were fine until after the Christmas break when the season went downhill, but still made playoffs. Have to improve in the offseason. It would be nice. Roman, you could just think of the worst thing that could happen, and you'll be right a ton of the time. Nobody should be thinking a 3-0 lead will disappear immediately. It just happens so quick, right? It's just a shock to the system. Terrible. M. Sharp, throw out some Jersey Shore videos. Any surf where you go, fishing, good eats. The one thing is I will put out some different kinds of content, but there has to be in the summer, but there'll always be some sort of Devils tie. Like, I'm not going to just start making random videos. I will be doing some food stuff, but it will be somewhat Devils related for sure that I have in the works for the summer. I'm not a surfer. I just like to, I just chill in the ocean, but I'm not a fisher either, but good eats. You know that I do. Lots of good food at the Jersey Shore for sure. Now I'm getting hungry. So many places, so many good food spots down the shore. M. Sharp. Chico, from the moment the ball dropped at midnight on January 1st, the season was cursed, but it didn't have to be this way. Bringing in Rico and Zetterlund or something maybe doesn't win the series, but it sends a message. Completely agree. Completely agree. Chase, no, Nemitz will slide into Dougie's place. Luke will QB power play 1. Yeah. It is crazy. So many people. I was never like shitting on Nemitz the way people were. I was just always kind of like, you know, he's either going to get it together or he's not. And I always said he'll be a good defenseman in this league somewhere, whether it's here or somewhere else. But people get super crazy after a couple games. Like, he struggled, but I keep telling every, you know, with all young people, with all young guys, especially D-men, I'm like, dude, these kids are young, man. Like, give it some time. It takes time for defensemen to develop. People are so in the moment. I guess that's the nature of sports fans and the internet. So then when you're talking about sports fans on the internet, it's a real crazy kind of combination. But he's looking like he could be a very good long-time Devil. Where's his spot going to come from, though? It's like, I don't think you could send him back to the AHL next season. I think that'd be absurd. Evan J, I'm just trying to listen to this man. Love his fair and balanced analysis. Thanks. SJ, as irritating as the Devils are, I always hate not watching them. Do you mean like when the season's over? When our season is over and we're just – the off-season's here, guys. It's crazy. We didn't even make it to May. Chico, my only fear is that the rift between Fitz and Keefe is bigger than we think, and he re-signs to go join his buddy Dubas in Pittsburgh. He's under contract with the Devils. I'm pretty sure we would have to, like, allow that. I don't think there is a rift at all, to be honest. Chico, I've heard John Cooper might be out if the Bolts lose in the first round. He would be my first choice if I had to hire a new coach. I don't think Keefe is going anywhere. But again, who knows, right? Maybe there is some rift behind closed doors, but I don't think so. Max, well, fellas, life will go on. Good night. Until next time, friends. October. Let's go, Devils. Dogzell says Slavin punked Nason and scored the snipe. That was the backbreaker. Way too many sloppy, unforced errors in the series. Can't believe the injuries to Dylan and Kovacevic. Everything imploded. Yeah, pretty much everything that could go wrong did go wrong for the most part. Absolutely disgusting. Luke, next year Rags will be better. Caps, Canes, Devils. Or Caps, Canes, Devils have their work cut out for themselves. For sure. Charles thinks the Rags are going to get Mike Sullivan as the coach. World's worst gamer for sure. I am out again. I just watched the post-game interviews finally before coming here and can't stand talking about next year after what happened tonight with the refs. I haven't moved on from the season. Man, it just sucks. I was kind of numb when that puck went in the double OT. I was like, wow. Wild. Dimitri, trade Markey, get something for him. Put in Dawes, back him up with Jeremy Brodeur, bring back Lou. Oh, God. Dimitri, this is the worst line of moves I've ever heard. Dawes can definitely not be the backup, and Jeremy Brodeur is not going to be – I mean, Dawes can't be the starter, and Jeremy's not going to be the backup, and Lou's done. Sometimes you got to just let the past go. I'll always talk about it, but I'm not suggesting we try to recreate it. Yeah, Keefe has a 4-year contract with the Devils. Mark, Ace, Rags will be able to get Marner because some other team always bails them out. Evan, love you, Ace. You literally deserve TV pay for the amount of time you put into this shit. Even if I disagree with your stance on unfair reffing the series, you deserve a TV slot Canes fan. I appreciate that, Evan. I don't see that in my future at all. But I certainly – that would be awesome. But I appreciate that, Evan, man. It's been a long season for the Devils fans. At least you guys have another round. And who knows? Maybe – I don't know. The Canes don't look like the greatest team to me, but they find a way to win. All I do is win, 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 and that's Hot Rod Brendamore. I'll be checking out some of the the next round games. I might need like a cold turkey break from hockey for like a couple of days. I'm heartbroken right now. 2902 Project Nemitz is the real deal. Developing as D takes a while. Yeah, absolutely. I think he's 20 years old. Like, it's going to take some time, but he's putting it together. Husky Unchained, I remember Green saying he wanted full control of the roster when he took over as coach. It sounded like Keefe dealing with the same issue. I don't know that Keefe's dealing with that issue. He's just dealing with not having a lot to work with. Lack of depth and NHL quality caliber players to fill out a lineup. World's worst gamer for sure. One of the worst ways to end a season. Wish we lost 10-0 with no controversy. Sorry, but can't think of next season after tonight, and neither can the players. I think a lot of us are taking it harder than the players, if I'm being honest. Stanley, call me crazy, but Nemitz worked these last 3 games. I can't think of a better stretch that Luke put together. Not dumping on him, but Nemitz was super impressive these last few games. No, I completely agree. I mean, what a stretch for Nemitz, and the whole story surrounding him went from like, what is his future to like now, how are you opening up a spot for him? Because he is the real deal. And he showed flashes of it last year. That's why I refuse to believe that he just completely forgot how to be an NHL defenseman from last season. Obviously we had the growing pains last year too, but he showed enough where I think most people after last season were like, Nemitz is going to be a really good defenseman for the Devils one day. And then we saw what happened this year, and you're like, holy shit, what happened? And I think it was just more mental than anything. And who knows, maybe he was still nursing that injury that he suffered in the World Championships last summer. Eric Cartman, Ace, you got to buy the bench clear tank top for the summer. Oh, I already have all those, Eric Cartman. Chico, no one wants to hear it right now, but I do think there was a lot of value gained in the season. I can't answer that yet, Chico. That remains to be seen, man. I can't say. Way too early to call it. Damian, rant time. Jack, Luke, and Quinn are great players. They'll be great in the future. You know why they get injured. Sure, they may be weak, but they actually do shit. They fight and give a shit for the team. Yeah, but the injuries are just nonstop. Like, how do we get that in the rearview mirror for once and for all. Knowles, what's your normal Jersey shore spot? I'll be down at Donovan's or Tiki at some point this summer as much as I can. I don't really go out that much. Oh, wait, I think I lost the camera. Did I lose the camera? Can you guys still hear me? I got to fix the camera. Hold on. This hasn't happened in a while. The camera's depressed. Even the camera knows the Devils lost. We're rebooting. Well, I just got lightheaded for a minute. I used to go to Jenks a lot, but I don't really go out anymore, guys. I'm an old man. I just, maybe day drinking. I'm a big fan of day drinking. I was always a fan of day drinking, but even more so in my older age. Just day drinking and then, go to bed at a reasonable hour. But I'm more about the food spots. I'm a big surf taco guy. If I'm down in the seaside region, maybe some Sawmill pizza, or obviously the Midway cheesesteaks is phenomenal. Always love the Midway cheesesteak. Luke says Hamilton will be missed. It's really unfit to get him moved seamlessly. David says everyone is injury prone. Just that Jack is a victim of circumstance. I will admit I've bias for him because he's the same age as me. And in a way, I see myself in him. The chance that I may never. He'll be great. You just need to have faith. Yeah, but the injuries are rough. The injuries just plaguing the career. Daniel, I don't get why anyone would want to get rid of Markstrom. Neither do I. I think that's pretty ridiculous. But again, people are very in the moment. We just lost the game. Markstrom had a pretty rough second period, and so obviously people are going to be extreme and start talking about, trading him. It's absurd, but it is what it is. Evan Charles, it's not our core is locked, and we'll have $35 million cap space this offseason. Oof, that's a lot of money to play with. Dimitri, Ace, that was a heartbreaker. Absolutely a heartbreaker. Chico, Radabot is a top 5 coach in the NHL, in my opinion, but I thought Keefe matched up pretty well, all things considered. Yeah, but, it's brutal. It's a brutal way for the season to end. I just can't believe that the season's over, and I can't believe that we blew a 3-0 lead and a 4-3 lead. Evan, I'm tired of losing to the Hurricanes, but I will admit they are a good team. I mean, yeah, they're our daddy. They own us. Now they're 1-5 against us in playoff series all time, and they've won the last 5. We won in 2001, and then they beat us 5 times. Knowles, Ace, hope to see you at the shore. Tiki Mondays is what's up. Anyways, thanks for everything this year. Looking forward to those food reviews. There's going to be an interesting twist to the food reviews. I'm going to be doing hopefully a good amount. Hopefully a good amount this summer. I have some interesting things planned. Should be some decent videos in the off season for sure. Chico Nemitz got hurt in international play in the offseason, so no workouts, no training camp. And then he came in as a young guy into a system as different as you can get in hockey from roughs. All very true. All very true. Brandon, all right, I am off, y'all. Have a good offseason. Keep it real. Take care, Brandon. Look at Stanley with the jokes. You never look so good, Ace. Funny guy. Funny guy. Nicholas, who do you have for the Cup Finals and who will win it all? Well, in my bracket, which is now looking like complete trash, I had the Lightning over the Avalanche. Oh, another one with the much better with the camera off. All right, I'll turn it off. I'm not a seafood guy, Luke. Park Seafood and Seaside. I don't eat any seafood at all. I just never liked it. Jay Snow, I go to Jenks every summer. Sucks for the season to end, but I love the summer. Oh, Jay Snow. I'm a summer baby, brother. I love that. I'm a huge beach shore guy. I love the summer as well. My overall just outlook on life and mood is always so much better in the summer. The summer is my happy time. Stanley, if any of you are over 40, be prepared. You're never going to see your team win again. Oh, my God. I think about this all the time, and it's crazy. Like I said, I'm almost 40. And when I was 17, almost 18, when the Devils won in 2003, and I never in a million years would have thought that, fast forward 22 years later, that we wouldn't have won another cup, and that there really might not be one in my lifetime again. I mean, it's going to be, I saw 3 cup wins, and they're all going to be when I was under the age of 18. I wasn't even a legal adult. I couldn't legally drink a beer. Not even close. I couldn't even legally buy cigarettes, technically, for any of the Devils Cup wins. And to go the rest of your life without seeing another one, that's a pretty sad kind of realization. But I've thought about that the past couple years, and I've even talked about it on here. I'm like, I just want to see one more before I die. Can we get one more? Beachmaster, I go to Jenks every day. Do you live close to there? Those fresh squeezed lemonades with the vodka love those. Dogzilla, Markey is the man. Total Viking warrior. Devils are in good shape with him next year. Hopefully. Is there a date for the giveaway show? So that's going to be the other thing kind of coming up. The Pando interview and the giveaway show. I'm still working on some logistics of that. The giveaway show should be announced. I'll probably make a quick little video to announce it, because I'm going to show a bunch of the shit and talk about the different ways to win. But I will say there's going to be different elements with other platforms as well. So follow me on X, Instagram. I'm going to try to incorporate those in there as well. But I'm still pulling some items as well. I'm going to be giving away a ton of stuff, and that will be a live show, and there'll be a variety of ways to win for sure. It should be before May 14th. It should be in like the next 2 weeks, I would say. And I will announce it as soon as possible. So look for the details on that. Look for the details on that. Man, some of you guys are 2902 Project Lightning will still win it all for show. No way. The Lightning are cooked. Wow, Ottawa. Look at Ottawa. Ottawa did what we couldn't. Crazy. Maple Leafs fans must be petrified right now. Absolutely petrified. Larry, last time losing to the Canes, Fitzy's genius move was to trade for Toffoli. What brilliant move will he do this time? I have no idea, but I'm still not mad at the Toffoli deal. That was a win-now move. I was super excited when he did that. That was a true win-now move. I've defended that even last season when it looked like we really botched, like we blew having Sharangovich. But in the end, Sharangovich had a breakout year last year and a contract year, and then he's been awful this year. I think he had like 30 points or something for $6 million. Come on, 5.75, whatever he's making. Toffoli's a win-now move. Stanley, Kings fans will be the only fans more miserable than us. Kings were up 2-0 and are now facing elimination to a team they've lost to 3 straight years in the first round. Horrifying. I think I picked the Kings in my bracket's going to be trash. It's pretty much done first round. I did really well last year. Not so much this year. Dogzilla, the Leafs' most recent Stanley Cup championship came in the 66-67 season. Forever ago. Luke, guys, relax. Boozeface already said the Devils will be winning multiple cups soon. The future is bright. I know, Luke. Future is so bright. Wait, I don't have my normal glasses. I think they're in my car, but these aren't my solar eclipse glasses, but these could be my old school Devils. The future is so bright. Beachmaster, I've heard of some of the Devils ending up in Lavalette, but don't know the details. Yeah, a lot of the guys go down the shore in the offseason. Makes sense. Stanley, think about how many fans lived and kicked the bucket during that Leafs drought. I thought with our draft fortunes, at least one cup was certain, but here we are. Doing more with less. The New Jersey Devils. Devils are lit. Double down, go Vegas, go. That's my motto. Damien, essentially, I too wanted to play for the Devils. I thought I could after college. Sadly, no. I see Jack as a version of me in the NHL. He gets injured again, then I'll shut up about him, but I'll take the bet. I mean, what do you mean? He gets injured every year. I mean, I hope it ends, but let's be real. It's a pretty for him not to get injured again, that's a pretty risky wager. Chico, the first Toffoli trade wasn't the problem. The second one was when we traded him at the deadline. I'm still convinced so much about the season goes different if the only thing you change is they keep Toffoli. But that's not realistic, Chico, because to have the money, you would have had to change something else. So what else are you changing? And again, I hate these hindsight things, because then you could be like, oh, keep Toffoli and not do something else. $6 million for Toffoli would have been crazy, man. We could have used Toffoli for sure, but were you paying him $6 million, Stanley? I wouldn't have. We couldn't keep Toffoli because we overpaid Palat. Boozeface Masterclass. Roman Checkmonic. I remember in 2018, I was told we'd be competing for a cup this whole decade. Well, turns out that was a lie. All we had to do is be patient. We'd be going to the cup every year. I don't know whoever bought that. I've always been a very much of a win now, years go by. And I've been saying this for years. And I think slowly over time, more and more people are going to get on board with the whole win now notion, because nicohischier could leave in free agency after 2 more seasons, guys. 2 more seasons. And the reality is, if he will not sign an extension with the Devils, which I wouldn't blame him for at this point, I really wouldn't. He will be traded at the deadline of not next season, at the following season. If there's no extension in place, you could kiss Nico bye-bye. I hope it doesn't happen, but that's what would happen. They wouldn't lose him for nothing. Jay Snow said, Fitz said before the season, the one thing I'm worried about is scoring. How'd that work out, buddy? It didn't work out too well. But you understand why he said it. I mean, it was logical to think scoring wasn't an issue after last year. Get that defense and goaltending under control, and he did. But then the offense went to shit. It's it's always something. Yeah, don't sign Dylan. I knew that's what you were going to say. That's hindsight, though. Noah William Miller, I just kept thinking about Celaya trucking members of the Canes. Soon enough. Stanley, Luke calling Boozeface Masterclass brings a smile to my face if I could only convey my disdain as eloquently. Roman, you need to get talentless forwards, around 4 good forwards to win a cup. You do not need more than 4 forwards. Trade all those garbage draft rejects away and wait for people to step up. A little easier said than done, but Evan, Knight, NJ fans, just know that we Canes fans truly hate Rags the most, just like you. There's a reason why they all moved to Raleigh. They can't hack it in their own town. F them. Chowski, I would say most dynasties like the 95-2003 Devils only last about 10 years. Penguins, Hawks, Wings, and possibly Lightning all lasted that long. No way we are close to those teams right now. No, definitely not. Luke, window opens in 2030. Future's bright. Oh, I'm sorry, Luke. I forgot. Let me put my solar eclipse glasses back on for that so bright future. I don't want to be blinded and lose my vision. Chico, Toffoli for $6 million at his Sharks production would have been second on the team in goals and a point about a point above. Yeah, but dude, wasn't he playing with Celebrini all year, bro? Let's be real, Chico. Was he playing with Celebrini all year? I'm pretty sure he was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, was he going to play on the top line with Jack all year and match that production? I can't say for sure. Is it possible? Yes, but you could make the argument both ways. It is neither a guarantee or a impossibility. It could have been either. He's playing with Macklin, baby. Man. Yeah, how funny is it? Toffoli was like, I don't care. I already won a cup. Just send me to. I'll sign in Cali. They have nice weather. I'll play with Celebrini and get paid. Stanley says Damian Jack is 1,000%, or sorry, 10,000% getting hurt again. He's a boy playing in a men's league. I certainly hope not. What is skilling it up videos? Let me see. I mean, he could do leg day every day. Chico, even at the time, Dylan was not a great signing. Too much money for a guy with a lot of hard miles. I don't hate the guy or player, but I don't know how you could justify $4 million for him, but not $6 million for Toffoli. Again, with hindsight, sure you can. I understand, Chico. The defense was garbage last year, so the main priority was solidifying goaltending, which we did early with Markey, solidifying goaltending and shoring up the defense. In hindsight, sure, you could make the argument that Toffoli at $6 million is a better value than Dylan at $4 million, but that's with hindsight, which is a cheat code. He's so slow, though, man. And for all the people like, oh, we got so slow, like Toffoli would be visibly dragging ass out there. Jason, no, the offense went down from 22-23 each year. The painful reality. Christopher, was this a bad year to become a Devils fan? Am I setting myself up for years of pain? Maybe. It's possible. Or it's possible you kind of came at a good time and that they're going to somehow be a great team in the next few years. Time will tell. Chico said, but he could have been with Jack or Nico all year easily. Well, yeah, he definitely would have been on the top two lines if we paid him that money, for sure. But yeah, I don't like these kind of transitive property games. Like, you know, in Keefe's system in New Jersey, would he have replicated that? No. I mean, could we have used his goal scoring ability? Absolutely. That's undeniable. I just think that there was a better usage of that $6 million. Stanley says Dylan has a no movement clause, right? Shit, everyone does. It's not show. Let me see on Puckpedia. Yep. It gets modified in the last year. He has a 10-team no-trade list in 26-27. I like Dilly, though. I really do. He's such a quintessential throwback. Luke says Fitz is at his best making problems and then fixing them. Jason, no, I'd rather spend that $6 million on another forward. I agree. And maybe not necessarily $6 million on that forward, but maybe it could have been, you know, using that $6 million towards an $8 million guy. But whatever it is, I agree. That $6 million is better spent, in my opinion. Stanley says, Zanga, get out while you can. M. Sharp to fully scored wherever he went as soon as he got where he was going. Damien, NHL memes, pretty funny. Highly recommend the Stanley Cup playoffs in a nutshell video. You will not get the Sweetness song out of your head. All right, I pulled this up. I'll try to check it out. Chico, but it's not hindsight. COVID made sense. Pesci made sense. But at the time, I and others were saying Dylan was a bad signing. Maybe it's hindsight to you, but it's not to everyone. Oh, well, I'm not going to say it's hindsight if you claimed you didn't want it at the time. That's fine. But if you're going to tell me that you thought Kovacevic was going to steal Nemitz's spot to start the season and then get a $20 million 5-year deal, you're full of shit. I will say that. So it's not like people, Kovacevic was, including by the team, was looked at as a depth defenseman. So it's not like when we traded for him, it was like, oh, there's one of our spots solidified. He was a depth guy. He was brought in for depth. Chico, and if you remember, I've been on Dylan all season. I don't like that player, the player for that cost. I mean, that's fair. M. Sharp to Foley did take a long time to stretch and warm up. Dylan at 2 more years, I don't see much as an issue as Palat at 6. Oh, for sure. Definitely not. Roman, Dylan isn't that slow with straight ahead speed. He's just not that good of a defender. We would love to be off his contract. To not compete after signing those contracts like that sucks. I think that's a little harsh. Christopher, to be honest, your channel is amazing and has invested me into hockey this year, so consider me a Devils fan for life, man. I appreciate that, Christopher. Wait, you said you live in New Jersey, right? Sensible that you would be a Devils fan. Chowski says, nah, I agree. Hindsight or not, Dylan didn't work out. I mean, I think it's a little early to say, fellas. No, you're gonna call it didn't work out after season 1, which he got injured early in the playoffs. I think playoff Dilly would have been a fun time. Injured early in the series. Chico, I like some of what Dylan brings. I like that he's the first one into scrums. I think stuff like that is important for team bonding. He actually moves the puck decently, and I think he's a huge locker room guy as well. At least when you come with your hatred, and again, I'm not saying hatred, but I'm going to use the, excessive version of whatever you want to classify criticisms. That you do at least acknowledge the other stuff, because I do think that's all important as well. And sometimes you have to spend money on those things that may not be strictly on ice production or whatever. I do think for, like you said, team bonding, team unity, just for kind of, help juice up the team to have a little more balls in general. And I do think that as a vet in the room, he is a voice. And I think a lot of the young guys appreciate him being around as well. And so for $4 million, I'm not going to cry about it personally. Stan says Kovacevic trade was good. Signing him to a lifetime deal. Is a 5-year deal a lifetime deal? 2902. Dylan would have been effective against the Canes for sure. Sucks he got hurt. Yeah, that's what I've been talking all year about. I can't wait to see playoff Dilly. Drunks usually get tunnel vision. Yeah, Kovacevic took everyone by surprise, for sure. I mean, dude, he pushed Nemitz out of the lineup, and then he got extended. I wanted him extended pretty early, though. Like, I think by mid-October, I was like, I'm a Kovacevic guy. I liked what I saw, and I was like, sign this man up. I thought it was a decent bet for a third pair D-man. I thought after we inevitably got some injuries, we would have seen him get some games. But what a story for Kovacevic this year. Chico, the one I was doing backflips for is Pesci. I thought he was going to be huge for us, and he was. He only got better as the year went and peaked in the playoffs. Brilliant signing. Yeah, Pesci's the man. If I were a Canes fan, I'd be pissed they let him walk. some Canes fans were in here saying how they loved Pesci and didn't want to lose him and that he was a fan favorite, whatever. Husky Unchained, Dilly is a fucking animal, worth the contract, in my opinion. I agree. We don't have too many dogs. Dilly's a dog. Stanley, I think Siegenthaler propped up Kovacevic quite a bit this year. It made Boozeface fall in love with him. We'll see in years to come. Roman, we did get Dylan without knowing that Kova was good yet, so I'll say that's okay, but we need every dollar in our offseason. Dylan is tough and a good guy, but he's not going to age gracefully the next 2 years. I hope you're wrong. But typically, you know, as guys get older, they slow down a bit. SJ, I think Casey is ready next year, but no space for him. Well, at this point, I do think that, you know, while there was a debate all season long kind of between the two of them amongst fans, I do think at this moment, as of today, that Nemitz, in terms of NHL readiness or NHL roster spot worthiness, that Nemitz has separated himself by a considerable amount, I would say. Like a considerable amount. And so maybe we see someone moved. We see it, you know, in the event of like, say, a Dougie Hamilton has moved or something in this season. You see Nemitz come in. And then maybe Casey's in Utica to start the, you know, or maybe even for all of next year. Chico, I'll give you that one. The team was mentally soft as baby food, and I think Dylan was a great add to fix that problem. Specifically was good. Yeah. So you got to pay for that. That has a value. I'm not, you know, if he was making $7 million, I'd be like, $4 million. I think that's money well spent. Stanley Pesci's a stud. Very happy with him. I think we all are. Luke's is more worried about Covey than Dylan. Kovacevic is only, I guess he's turning 28 in July, so this deal will take him till he's like 33. Chico, Dylan can also eat minutes pretty decently. He's not great defensively, but you could rely on him to eat minutes. Roman, Kova, Pesci, Siegs is the shutdown core. At Kovacevic age, the lifetime deal, I'd bring him to 33. He'll get a couple more years after that. Chico says Pesci Slavin was one of the best pairings in the NHL. Slavin's a beast, man. Beast. Chowski, he's definitely a locker room guy. Shouldn't have said not worked out. I just think his best. Well, yeah, I'm sure his best days probably are behind him, but it doesn't mean that he can't be a useful contributor on this team and hopefully be an instrumental, you know, kind of leader and voice for a team looking to take those next steps and hopefully push for a cup while we're all still on this planet. That's all we can hope for. Checkmonic says that's rare for Canes fans. They call everyone not worth it after they leave. Checkmonic, Casey won't play as long as Nemo, Hughes, and Dougie are all here. As long as you can count, you know he's out. At the moment. Luke, Casey isn't a first-round pick and has options. We obviously need cheap depth. Casey opening up in Utica. It certainly seems that way. Chico, I keep Casey at least through the first half of the season, probably as the guy in Utica. Let him rack up points and look good and see what he can bring in at the trade deadline unless someone's hurt. Man, that would suck. That would suck. Stanley says, sucks we're going to lose Dumoulin. I mean, this is crazy, too. Dude was an absolute horse and really laid it out there for the team he wasn't a part of for very long. I appreciated his effort, for sure. Dumoulin ended up having a monster playoff, playing a shitload of minutes. What did he finish at tonight? It had to be like damn near 40. Oh, my God, yeah, 37-19. The next closest guys were in the mid-32s, Siegenthaler and Pesci, and there's Dumoulin with 37 minutes, 3 blocks and 2 hits. What an effort. Chico, fun fact, Slavin was picked with the Devils draft pick, sent it to them for Ponikarovsky. Wow. What round was that? Slavin was a 4th rounder. What a find. Yeah, to be a good team, you have to have finds like that. Like, obviously, the Devils got Bratter in the 6th, but, like, no other late-round picks that, like, we killed it, knocked it out of the park on. It doesn't happen a lot. 2902 Project Jersey needs a guy like Dylan. I'm a big Dilly guy. I'm a big Dylan guy. Roman Checkmonic says, Chico, are you Chico on other websites? You seem like a knowledgeable fan. I can't believe our season's over, guys. Do one more. Cheers to all of you. Cheers to all of you. It's been a long season. Wow. We can't draft in the first round. No, I know. It's crazy. Yes, Stillman. The Holtz pick was terrible. Nemitz going to redeem himself, I guess, for that number 2 pick. It's crazy. Jackson Blake in the 4th round, too. Nice steal. Evan, 82 games, no games off. Ace, you are the best. Appreciate that. I took 1 game off, I believe. There was 1 game I didn't do a post-game live because I went to a concert. I think that was the only one I missed, and that was in November, I believe. 1 game off. What a grind. Like I said, the TV crew, the broadcast crew, I have a newfound level of respect for them. I always respected what they did. I knew it wasn't easy, but going through this on my own, I'm like, damn, and they're flying and traveling to the road games, and I'm still, on my sectional. But it's definitely a grind. The 82 game season is no joke at all. It is a true grind. Anyone got anything else? Man, our season's over, guys. I'm depressed. It's depressing stuff. It really is. We weren't supposed to be here this soon. We didn't even make it to May. We couldn't even make it to May. Cheers to Chase Stillman and Ty Smith. Brutal. Chase Stillman. Ugh. I had high hopes from him. I fell in love with Stillman briefly when I saw a clip of him in juniors. He literally trucked the guy I think it was the Memorial Cup playoffs. He drills the guy with a hit, and then the guy's teammate comes over and fights him, and Stillman cracks him. And then you see the next clip, the guy that he checked and the guy that he fought were both going down the tunnel off the ice. It was phenomenal. Evan, some of these post-game lives were fun. Thank you. Appreciate that and entertaining. 2902 Project, love the coverage and good takes. I can't remember all this stuff. Good games. Okay. Good games. Roman Checkmonic, we got playoff experience. We just need 2 more years of playoff experience. I hope not. 2 more years. 2 more years. 22-23 was supposed to be the turnaround. The fact. I don't even know if I want to go on X. It's going to be brutal. Luke, love the show, Ace. Look forward to sharing our hopes and misery all off season. Good stuff, gentlemen. Let's go Devils. Husky, well done, Ace. Depressed or not, it's been fun hanging out with other Devils fans. That's what I tried to do, make a little community of normal Devils fans, or at least mostly normal. Roman Checkmonic, it's going to be hard getting another full-time hobby. This is pretty much my only hobby that takes up time, so the summer is the summer. Like I said, I'm going to be doing stuff during the summer, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Stanley, the morning after sucks. As much as this team pisses us off, it's always nice having a game to look forward to. Yeah, we don't have one for months and months and months. Chico, I'm Chico everywhere. I wouldn't really call myself knowledgeable, though I think I've just seen a lot. Checkmonic, 2 to 10 more years of playoff experience will win the cup. Oh, boy. Roman says that Chico, you're in the top 3 of non-idiots here. I've watched every Devils game since the start of 02-03 and probably 1,000 other teams' games in that time, too. There's just very few things that I haven't seen before. Luke, X is great. Discussing Markey moving to D. He's got good bug skills. Casey loves being a Devil. Chico says, I know languages, video games, and history, and that's all I'm confident in. That's a lot more things than I could say I think I know. Damien, I will say history pretty repeating itself to the T. We lose the series 4-1, win game 3, lose game 4, and lose game 5 in OT on a penalty kill. Yeah. Brian Cook, Canes fan here. Great series, guys. You all played with heart. Can we borrow Pesci for the rest of the playoffs? Pesci is so banged up right now. He's probably going to be soaking in an ice tub for the next couple months. I mean, shout out to Brett Pesci. Again, old school warrior. When they said he's game time and he took the morning skate off, I'm like, yeah, that's probably because he can't really walk too good. But knowing how Pesci is, it would take something super severe for him not to play. And obviously he played and he's a warrior. SJ, cheers, bro. This sucks. Cheers to you. Know what you could have, Alan. Damien, I mean, heck, we were even winning in game 5 multiple times and still lost. Yeah, one of them a 3-0 lead. Disgusting. Chico, I wonder how similar these are to the vibes on the team from like 88 through 93, right before that 94 Eastern Conference final and 95 Cup win. I mean, there's no internet, right? So people can't kind of galvanize and kind of antagonize each other and, share in misery. There's just newspapers. And there's probably way less fans as well. And it's before they won. I do think for people my age or roughly my age and older that are longtime fans that saw the Cup years, I think having experienced the good teams makes the times like this that much worse versus back then they still never got to the good times, if you follow what I'm saying. So I do think it's a little different, but that would be interesting. Stanley, Ace, you've managed to energize the older portion of the fan base while also bringing in newer fans and strengthening their bond with an unforgiving product. LOL. This fan base is lucky to have you. I appreciate that, Stanley. I have a lot of haters as well, but, it comes with the territory, I suppose. But yeah, man, it's It's brutal. What a brutal. I can't believe the season's over, guys. I almost don't want to log out. When I log out of here, then it like really hits me. When I go on my sectional and then really watch back all the, the locker room shit and everything after, that's when it's going to like really settle in that it is a wrap. Curtains. Damian, you know me, Ace. I like to keep things positive on this channel, and that's what I intend to do. I have faith in this team, and regardless, look forward to another playoffs year soon. Let's go Devils. Yeah, I know the camera gave out again. I'll fix it. I try to stay positive, but sometimes even trying to be positive, it's almost impossible to remain positive. But like this is a numbing loss. It really is. To lose in this fashion in a game like this, a must win. You're facing elimination, and to blow a 3-0 lead is wild. Chico, the great part of Twitter is that anyone could have exposure for their ideas. The worst part of Twitter is that anyone could have exposure for their ideas. I've talked about this before as well too. It's not just Twitter. It's the internet, right? The internet gives everybody a voice. Anyone could have a voice. And while I do think, it's just a gift and a curse, just like you said, Chico. It's like, that's the great thing about it and the terrible thing about it. And in the end, I do think it's probably worse on X though, because you don't have to have a big following for certain things to be seen. Versus, I even talked about this like on YouTube. Like, some people hate me, cool, but like anyone could make a YouTube channel, right? But I'd imagine, if your ideas are crazy or if your videos suck, you would never accumulate an audience because the public would deem your channel not worthy of an audience. Like, that's a report card, right? And not that I put too much stock. A lot of people are obsessed with the metrics and the followers and the likes and all the bullshit that people get caught up in, especially young kids. I feel bad for them because it's like there's all these studies out, and in years and years from now, there's going to be even more studies about like kids and dopamine and all this social media and people trying to be famous and people trying to do whatever on all these platforms. And it really is, I think, probably overall a tragic kind of situation. But with the internet on various platforms, including on YouTube, anyone has a voice. And so Twitter, I feel like I said, it's worse because like tweets could more easily be seen than like if someone was making YouTube videos and they were a psycho, it probably wouldn't even get found by anybody. So it does require a little more work and time, but that's the beauty of the internet and social media. To your point, everyone does have a voice. And that's also the kind of dark side or downside of these things, is that, anyone could just put out whatever they want. Chowski, did any info come out about the injuries are for Luke and Kova? I wouldn't be surprised if we never know. Maybe people, maybe they press Fitzy about it at the end of season thing. Chico, I guess to someone who watched from like 82, 83, year in, year out, guaranteed playoffs for like 6 years is probably a big upgrade. I imagine it. Well, I would imagine it was. Stanley, the webcam is like season's over, bro. Sometimes after a while it gets hot. I don't know if it's like overheating or whatever. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's whatever. It flickers back on. Chico, we learned a lot about this team, though. I think they got mentally tougher. Last year's team probably collapses completely when Jack got hurt. It's possible. I'll definitely give some credit to Keefe and his system for keeping them in games and really making the playoffs with the roster he had is a statement in itself. Again, to me, this is a failure of a season. I'm not going to ever look at a season like this as a success, but given, all the injuries and how we did not do anything meaningful at the deadline, I would say it's not a success, but it's slightly impressive, I would say. And again, impressive, use the term very loosely, more, I don't know, because the Metro was horrible. I mean, let's be real. My God, was the Metro horrible. So bad. Damian, that's okay. That's what I'm here for. You, the realist, be the optimist. Roman, the Devils have the best hardcore fans. Ace is just going to rewatch and break down the post game after this. Well, I have to record a regular video for the morning, but I do have to watch the player interviews, and I'll probably get more angry. SJ, this team showed a ton of heart, just overmatched and injured. World's Worst Gamer at Chico. We were able to see once again that in pro sports, we got to question the refereeing. No matter the league, weird stuff goes on for sure. Evan, have a great night, Ace. Thank you for everything this season. See you in the offseason. Have a good one, Evan. I'll be back soon. Roman, I still think it does suck that Dawson ended the season with an errant stick. I've moved on for sure, but the unclutched penalties were ridiculous all year. We actually had a chance in second OT. Yeah, silly play by Mercer, but I do think, you could have made the argument. It was never going to happen in their building, but it was sort of the follow-through. 2902 Project. Devils fans lucky to have this Ace fella. Thank you, sir. Oh, wait, I forget. Are you a Canes fan? I'm a little delirious. 2902, are you a Canes fan? Chico, nicohischier, I think, cemented himself as a great captain. That's a man I would follow into hell itself. I talked about that earlier. I don't know if you were here, Chico, but I said, just on that double minor kill alone, he was just a complete wrecking ball. He had a couple hits, had a couple clears. He blocked a big shot towards the end of it right before they scored. What a tease too, right? What are they down to like a minute left on we killed like the first 3 minutes of the double minor and they score in the closing minute. Terrible. And a lot of people talk smack about Nico because they're crazy. Like people want to see the rah captain. Like I get it. I would prefer that type of captain if I could pick, but that's not Nico's style. And he's a great captain. He's a go out there and show it every night. Put his body on the line and try to win at all costs. And he probably is the guy that's the most bothered with the loss after the fact. When you see the interviews after the game, he clearly visibly seems the most bothered by the loss of at least anybody I've seen clips of an interview with yet. I only really saw like a couple seconds of Pesci, I think. And then a little bit of Nico. But it's crazy. Yeah, Chico. Keith made the NHL playoffs with half an AHL forward group. Exactly. World's Worst Gamer, at least free agency will be fun. I always enjoy that with my son. Good times. We don't have a lot of money to spend, and so I don't know how excited you're going to be unless you get excited by other teams' moves, which I don't. But it is fun to follow. We're not going to be as active this summer as we were last summer, obviously. Chowski, there was more mental lapses than showing mental toughness most of the time, but overall they definitely showed a ton of grit and fight. It's all true. Chris, hey, man, I've been listening most of the shows. Sometimes I comment, sometimes I don't. I'm going to miss the late-night hockey talk. I appreciate that, Chris. I'll be back with periodic lives, but the videos will still be coming out. I might do some, if nothing else for the playoffs, I'll probably do something for the Cup Finals. Or maybe. I don't know. I'm kind of burnt out. I'm not going to lie. The way this season ended and just how long it is, like I do feel there is a slight sense of relief, a little bit. It's been intense. World's Worst Gamer, it's obvious we need more team speed. Hopefully that will be addressed in the summer. Nico definitely cared. Roman, Nico is going to be a lot more battle-hardened now and will come out on the other side better, hopefully with a contender. Oh, man, I hope not. Chico, Scott Stevens wasn't really a rah-rah captain either. He led on the ice with his play too. Yes, but he was also more, maybe not vocal, but animated. Like when shit hit the fan, you saw the fire come out. Even when he wasn't on the ice, if something happened, you saw him get up and I guess animated. Yeah, is really the term. Yeah, he wasn't vocal, but he was definitely animated and aggressive for sure. Damien, here, let me create a hierarchy for your channel. Ace the leader, Chico the realist, me the optimist, and Jay Snow the doomer, mainly because SST is non-existent now. I'm surprised that, SST left a little early. I'm surprised. Chris, the season ended like a slow-burning knife that the Canes kept pushing. No lead was safe. Absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal way for the season to end. Blowing a 3-goal lead and then the ultimate tease of taking a 4-3 lead and losing that too. Oh, it feels gross. Yeah, it's still almost not real. It will be after I sign out of here, and then go watch the post-game interviews. It'll start to kind of hit me more. It sucks. And honestly, wow, I really thought we were going to make it till at least May. Out in 5. Very underwhelming. A very underwhelming playoff appearance, which could have definitely went differently. Completely tragic. Anyone have anything else before I sign off here for the final time for our season? Wow. Chico says this was the first time they had made the playoffs. This was the first time they'd made the playoffs 2 out of 3 years since Obama's first term. Oh. Yeah, it's pretty rough. What a way to just... It's so bad. ...2012 Devils versus Devils was rough. Oh, Henrique, it's over. Yeah, as a Ranger fan, I imagine that was pretty brutal. And the 2014 versus the Kings, yeah. The Kings ended our season after we beat you with Henrique. Those Kings teams were stacked. 2902 Project says trade Dougie's the main takeaway. Chico, the rebuild years were rough and messy. That's definitely one way to put it. Damien, all right then, as much as I want to stay up all night talking with you, Ace, and preventing the inevitable doom you face signing off, got to go in case I don't see you. Good evening, afternoon, night. Take care, man. Check Monix says to end it, I'll say I don't think Fitz has the balls to trade Pally. It's a bad contract, but in the end, I think it's worth keeping him because with the penalty, like, it's just not – it's probably not worth it. Chico, somewhere out there, there's a world where the Devils are a playoff team from 21-22 onwards. Yeah, it's an alternate universe for sure, my man. World's Worst Gamer, one thing I hated on the night was them giving up the blue line so easily. They also struggled to deal with first guy separating the forechecker from the puck and another guy taking it. Yeah, they're brutal, man. They pounce. They pounce and they grab those pucks. SJ Nico is the ultimate competitor. I love it. I love Nico. Chico, I went down with the ship, but I could swim, so I'll be on deck for puck drop October 25. Let's go Devils. Man, what a long road, bro. Even if we're good next year, it's another year. Another calendar year before we're back in the playoffs. It sucks so bad. Henrique was a beast. Stanley, let's just hope Boozeface gets lost on a hiking trip or something. The organization needs to move on from this front office. It's not working, fellas. Man. Chico, Fitz does deserve to lose his job, but wait until like August. Take advantage of his great off seasons, then get a new GM for the in-season stuff. Well, he's not going to – there's really not much for him to do this offseason. There's no cap. It's like literally – so at that point, would you even want him to be the guy? There's no point in talking about this either because we all know he's coming back. But like if you could get a more qualified, capable GM, wouldn't you rather have them rebuild the bottom six versus having Fitz do it? I know I would, but it's not happening. This is all just fantasy stuff. Fitz is here, guys. The Fitz train rolls on. All right, guys. Well, I guess this is it. Kind of sad. It all comes crumbling down. The series shifted to Raleigh for Game 5. Canes up 3-1. Devils looking to force the series back to New Jersey. And it looked promising early on. It really did. A 3-0 lead after the first period gets completely erased in the second. Game ties 3-3. Nicohischier scores to give the Devils to regain the lead at 4-3. They blow that too. And your New Jersey Devils, our beloved New Jersey Devils, fall by a score of 5-4 in double overtime, ending the season, sending the boys to the golf course, and just absolutely saddening. It's a dark night. It's a dark, dark night. And I'm depressed. Making the playoffs, always better than not making the playoffs. But for it all to go away in this fashion just is kind of gross. A 3-0 lead and then a 4-3 lead. It's terrible. So, yeah, thanks, everybody, for coming out. I guess I will do one final shot to this 24-25 season. It's been a great ride. Appreciate all of your support all year. I will have a couple different kind of end of season videos. I'll do my kind of end of season awards. I think I did that last year. I have a bunch of other stuff, but I'll be popping up periodically with different videos and things throughout the summer. Like I said, draft stuff, free agency. I have some other kind of interesting things planned, some interviews. So there'll be plenty of summer stuff floating around. But yeah, wow. But yeah, end of season video stuff will be coming out in the next couple days. And I'm just going to kind of wallow in my misery and depression here. The New Jersey Devils, rest in peace. 24-25 Devils. So much potential not realized. We look towards next year once again. Put on your shades. The future is bright. These are my Devils retro shades. This is for the red and green throwback outfits. But the future is bright. I can't believe it, guys. I'm depressed. And I can't believe I'm about to sign out for the last time during the season. That's it. That's it, guys. I'm a little depressed. The season has come to an end. I'll be back soon. Lots of stuff in the works as always. Appreciate your support all season. Please hit the thumbs up on the way out if you have not. If you have not subscribed, and you're still watching this, I just give your boy hit the little subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds of your life. It's not like you're not getting married. It's not any heavy commitment. Just Stanley writes, we are no longer entertained. Yeah, sucks. It sucks. We are no longer entertained. But that's it, guys. For the last time this season, your boy Ace. Appreciate you all season long. Salute to everybody. And that's it. That's it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.